I can only talk about me. And there's purpose, there's a reason I'm alive. There's a reason we having this conversation and we talking about the things we talking about.
And I believe that a lot of us don't realize that we're in a day and age to where we can be more fearless.
I think I'm the GOAT in my eyes.
No, you can be competitive.
I never do this nowhere else.
I like the confidence. Taraji P. Henson talking about not getting paid. And it's like, I hear the complaints, I hear the problems, I hear the issues. But the reality of it is that we don't have to have them no more.
A lot of us made it. A lot of us are GOATs. But what did it do? Absolutely nothing. It's just like, who are we making money for? You know, because there's always splits.
The diversity is fake, it's false, it's not real, right? And the reason it's not real because diversity never includes different ethnicities within inside one race.
To me, the GOAT is going to be the one that did something with that impact of the legacy.
The greatest weapon used against us is our own imagination. And so if we can collectively ask each other, what's your vision?
I can't afford to doubt what God is using this vessel for. It's in my suit, I'm here. It's like, there's purpose, there's a reason I'm alive. There's a reason we having this conversation.
You're making the case.
This is why I can only talk about me. I'm new, and I'm happy to be here.
The 19 keys. The 19 keys.
I appreciate my pops for teaching me how to be a guy.
From a boy to a man and ultimately back into the natural state of being into a God.
As guys, we're supposed to always move with that higher self. I had to be able to execute it. Having knowledge is not power, the execution of knowledge is power.
Knowledge makes a man unfit to be a slave.
Because the only real knowledge you can get is knowledge of self.
This is the highest level. The highest level is ownership. The highest level is power. The highest level is sovereignty. The highest level is higher consciousness. The highest level is when we own our own culture.
Excellence at a very high level. Not eye level. A high level.
It's time for a high level conversation.
We're here for another high level conversation.
19 keys, and this is a high level conversation. Tap in with the God.
Peace family, it's 19 Keys. Welcome back. The world needs heroes. The world needs people that we can look up to in all different facets of life, in all different directions. Whether it's a janitor that gives you a piece of advice, right? Whether it's a random person that you walk by that decides to actually check up on you and see how your day going, and there was nobody else that done that in a very long time. We all need somebody at some points in time to help elevate us out of the state and the condition that we're currently existing in. Oftentimes, we get to find that in characters, right? We get to tap into these characters, whether it's through cartoons. My favorite was, of course, Dragon Ball Z. Rest in peace to Akira. But what it allows you to do is it allows you to relate to the hero in that story to become the hero in your own story, right? And we exist in a culture to where there's more villains than there are heroes. And the truest statement is often we get to live long enough to see our heroes become villains, right? I was just talking to my good brother about the fact that when you're a child, you're unreserved. You're balanced energy. You're creative. You're always thinking about ways, how do I want to change things? Creative energy is a disruptive force, right? Because creative energy is not here to create peace or make peace with things. It's here to change things. It's here to move things around to see what else is possible, right? So when I'm talking to creatives, I always want to know, what is it the thing that you want to see done differently, right? And that's what I want to talk about today. What in the world can be done differently, from relationships, from technology, from industries, right, to society, from institutions. So today, I have a very powerful individual that has been creating and been a creative force since he was a child. And I want to talk a little bit about that journey of first maintaining that creative force as you become an adult versus allowing yourself to be killed by the expectations of others. So I have my good brother Shameik here today for a high level conversation. Y'all tap in. Bro, what's happening?
Peace, God. Yeah.
When you played in Wu-Tang, that to me was one of my favorite shows ever done. The reason it was is because I never got to see God Body on TV, right? And a whole show. You might see a spurt of it. Somebody might say it in a vocabulary, but you never got to really see it play out, right? And a lot of people consider that to be some of hip hop's founding golden years. You feel me? Where it was about the culture giving direction, right? And now it's no longer about direction, it's about money. But I want to know how different it was between your spiritual beliefs, who you are as a person, versus the character that you had to play. And how did that change you? Like, I imagine that every character you play leaves some sort of lasting impact on you, to where if you play a character that has better attributes than you in real life, why would you want to disconnect from those attributes when you're done playing that character? So it's almost allowing you to develop new habits and decide which ones you want to let go and which ones are actually now a part of your character.
Very interesting understanding you have there. Yeah, I don't really like to act, like go into character. It's like I like to find that person within myself. So I'm just, you know, I'm reading lines. Like I get to not have to worry about what I'm saying next, but I understand the energy and the spirit of what it is that I'm supposed to convey. So, of course, the RZA, you know, with his blessing, Brother Raekwon's blessing, we were able to make it happen, because I'm not quite as there's a little bit of that energy within me, but I don't embrace it as much because I wasn't as familiar with it growing up. You know, I was in an all-boys military school for a while, did the Young Marines, so there was a lot of discipline surrounding my spirit before I became a creative person, or before I had that understanding of self, that knowledge of self. As far as my spiritual beliefs, I feel like I started this journey of traveling my own interior probably around 2019, 2020. I started reading a few different books. I was raised by Christians, Muslims, and Rastafarians.
That's a combination.
Yeah. My mother is a Christian and my father's a Rastafarian. And then everything else kind of just, everyone surrounding us just kind of, it's a mixing pot. So there was always texture in spiritual or religious conversations during family moments, you know, or, you know, being around my dad or whatnot. So I never really, with the person I'm meeting as I go through life every day, I never really had a specific, I'm raised as a Christian, but I always had texture to it. You know, I didn't quite, there's certain things that I found myself questioning, and it wasn't necessarily scripture. It was just based on, like, you know, how I'm receiving it maybe. It just, certain things just never really
click for you.
Yeah. So as I started to explore, I actually got this opportunity from OG. And that's, I mean, I feel since then I've been surrounded by Muslim brothers somehow, like spiritually it's like, you know, so as far, I'm a lot more spiritual than religious. As I meet different people, different walks of life, everybody has like a similar, every religion seems to have some sort of through line. I think confidence in yourself is of utmost importance. What you're capable of doing, do unto others as you want done unto you. You throw it out there, it's going to come back, you know? So that faith and that move as and expect energy is kind of what I just move on. So as I learn from different people or in different moments of my life, I accept what feels true. As I read things in different books and hear things, I accept what feels true, and I embody what it is that God is expressing through this vessel. You know, whatever I'm supposed to be walking and reflecting for the next God, you know, is what I'm doing. I just kind of leave it up to the essence of life, you know. I just participate.
Do you feel like you have to be Like, at one point in time where you felt like you had to be more careful with your private persona and your public persona, right? Like, as far as, I can't say this, I can't do this, right? Does it start to feel like it's a box sometimes?
Yeah, you know, the thing about being an actor or the type of actor I am, it kind of becomes, I actually have 3 therapy sessions a week, you know, to understand different, because it feels like, what choice do I want to make? You know, because it really can, like, this person I am now, like you said, I could play Rick Wayne. Yo, son, you know what I mean? The whole energy could change, and I have to be responsible with that. Like, there's people that see Spider-Man now, you know? There's people that still see Dope or Shaolin, like, they expect me to be dancing. Some people know me from when I was a young, like, you know, Incredible Crew, YouTube days, you know, dancer in Atlanta. Like, you know, it's kind of, there is texture to it. So wearing that mask, you know, I don't really necessarily feel that I'm wearing, I feel that I try to be as naked as possible. You know, I try to, like, so it comes off shy, because I'm not trying to offend per se, because I'll take up space when I need, when it's time, like, I'll take up space as I'm supposed to, you know, but I also am conscious of, like, how, my bro, yesterday he was like, yo, you know, you're just being yourself, but it causes some people to act weird, you know, and it's not that they're not confident in themselves or whatever, but you could be, you and who you are could make someone just look at themselves, not question themselves or whatever. But, and as I thought about that, because in all transparency, like, it happens to me naturally. You know, I get inspired and I, like, want to be better or whatever. I try not to be weird in situations as much as I can, but as I learn and grow, you know, I adapt and I embrace. And so that's that kind of, is like being myself, but also being conscious of how I rub others, so I can navigate strategically to accomplish the mission. If I don't have to have casualties, then I won't. You know what I mean? But if,
so thinking with more empathy, I'm gonna be honest, I understand exactly what you mean. And I understand exactly what that is, to make other people feel insecure about their light, right? Especially in comparison to yours. But to have to be the constant keeping up of the account of being responsible for how other people feel is too much. Do you feel me? It's like, you just got to reconcile with your feelings at the end of the day. But as you said, you got to navigate throughout the world. So the goal ain't to create unnecessary enemies because you shine it. You feel me? So it's that whole thing when you dealing in a world where people don't know themselves and you walking around like you know who you are 100%. And there's no question mark to it. People feel insecure because they like, nah, they want to be the one to tell you you're great versus you telling it to yourself, right? And so I can understand that aspect, but then it's like, you don't want to reserve so much of yourself to where it becomes draining to you to hold yourself back, right? And then you go look back in certain circumstances and be like, man, I actually would have probably said it like this, or I probably would have took up more space or did it like that.
It's a bunch of situations like that.
Because then you regret certain things, and it's like you just regret not being yourself, basically. So it's a way where you can reconcile with that whole ability of, I'm going to be me 100%. I'm definitely going to take up space, but I'm going to do it in a way where it serves others.
Yeah.
You feel me? Like, you want me to come in a room and be the most loud, the most energetic that I naturally am to the tune of what I am, right? Because that's going to allow me to serve you all best. You going to have the best experience around me. You going to get the best energy from me. You going to get the best knowledge from me, right? But if I feel like you not coming with that confidence, now you make me feel, you got me thinking about, man, if I turn up, bro, go want to be my enemy later on because jealousy and envy start to pop in. You feel me? But, you know, I naturally had that my whole life, but I got a lot of brothers. So I was able to reflect on each of my brothers and the relationship I have with them. I got an older brother and I got younger brothers, right? So, and of course, the first situation you find that out in was with women, right? I used to think, man, all the women in the world just wanted me. And then I figured out my brothers get them too. And I had to share. And what it did is it had me to reconcile between the differences of jealousy and envy.
Yeah.
And, you know, envy is, or jealousy is when you want what somebody else has and you don't want them to have it. And envy is you want what somebody else has, right? You're envious of it. And so I had to learn when the spirit of envious or jealousy popped up in me to identify that, to cut it down each and every time so that I can deal with my brothers from a pure place, right? And so for me, as long as I'm operating from that pure place, I'm going to be myself. And sometimes you need to have that insecurity so you can go home and reconcile with your energy of jealousy and envy. Because if I tiptoe around that, then you never go fix it.
Yeah.
You feel me? So it's that kind of psychology that I keep. But like the way you just popped out into Raekwon, you know what I'm saying? Just real quick.
Yeah,
I want to know a
Raekwon.
little more about that, man, that ability, because I believe that it's like a superpower, right? In the movie Everything All at Once, the idea was that you can tap into these different versions of yourself that exist in an infinite amount of universes.
Yeah.
Right? And that's the way I kind of look at acting,
Yeah.
right? It's like when I'm on stage, you know, stage keys is different. My presence is different. When I'm speaking, it's different. I might pull from the tonality of a Malcolm. I might pull from a tonality of a Farrakhan. Or I have a unique space when I'm teaching that it's my own rhythm that I'm going towards. So, but it allows me to instantly jump into these characters, right, that are all really me, right? But then when I'm around family, of course, when I'm talking to family, it feels like they're talking to the child that they know. So I'm more, you know, comedic. I'm more relaxed. I'm more chill. So you'll get a completely different vibe. When you tap it into these different characters, do you sometimes use them on purpose? Like when you're in different places, because that energy is useful for the space that you at.
Yeah, like, you know, as I was alluding to earlier, you know, I really find different parts of myself. So specifically, let's talk about Raekwon. I'm not him, right? So I had to figure out why RZA thought I could play him to begin with. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, so as I met him, I was able to see like what it was, you know. And it's the thing that I actually hear about myself, but I just, like I said, I'm not as familiar. I don't use it the same way. I think I was raised a lot more, you know, underneath strict guidance with these teachers and et cetera. So jumping into Raekwon was really like embracing my like Taurus energy, my bull, you know. I've been boxing for like 8 or 9 years. You know, it's tapping into like the person I am when I'm like fighting, you know, and embracing like the energy that I will like get busy, right? Like I will accept that, you know, I am light and I am dark. I am the depths of the ocean, you know, and I get as far up there as I can, you know, I can get to Mars. You feel me? So as much texture as I can give to a painting, I will. And, I did that with Raekwon. I do that with every character. And in order to do that, I saw him walk. I was like, I got my own walk, but I see, you know, this confidence in his walk. You know what I'm saying? I understood. When he was talking to his men and he was telling me his memories and all that, and his eyebrows and his eye was, you know what I mean? And he started slurring his words and, you know what I mean? I was like, all right, you know, even when I started saying something, he, nah. But it, like how he jumped over it and like how he like, you know, the alpha energy, how he embraces that characteristic that I kind of use on a different, on like a switch, turn it off, turn it on, turn it, you know, and yeah, I just kind of, I saw what the through line was between us two, and then I just had to wear it the way he wears it. And that's how I caught that character. So yes, I use it in real life.
No, you got to.
Absolutely.
Once you pick it up, I mean, you got to move sometime like that. You feel me? Like, oh, wait a minute, I'm about to go like this. Because I feel like when you're dealing with the world, right, you got to wear many crowns in the first place. You know, some people you deal with, you're more energetic. Some people you're more chill with. Some people you're more relaxed. And the greater the ability you have to go into all of those different pockets, allow you to be in this rhythm that's seamless to you, that most people can only exist in one dimension. But when you can exist in multi dimensions, you can step into any world that you want to. Right. And you can be in flow with that world, and not just in flow, but you can be in flow from a place of power, not from a place of assimilation. Right. Which is completely different. Right. Like I go into places and, you know, my goal ain't to be assimilated to anything. It's to stand out and bring another energy to it. Yeah. Right. It's like you talked about paintings and texture. It's like when I come to the room, I'm bringing texture to it. Right. It's like a beautiful piece of art that's just sitting in there in the middle, and its worth is priceless. Right. Now, what is the value of that room? Everybody wants to come to it. Yeah. You feel me? And that's the value I'm gonna bring to any situation. Yeah. So, when it comes to the industry, right, and being in this industry, how also careful do you feel like you need to be just in your regular life so that you don't mess up any of these contracts that you have, or these opportunities, or these deals? Like, what restrictions you got to place on yourself? Or do you feel like you already kind of live life in that way to where you ain't got to do too much?
I think I do. I think I'm already hyper aware of the responsibilities that I have in general. Like, I'm not gonna play with my personal life. You know, I'm passionate about everything that I'm doing creatively. I think that people will be surprised at what I'm creating. I think it goes deeper than it might seem, you know, at the moment. And yeah, I'm really passionate about that. So, but I also like to have fun, as you pointed out, with women and like just being with your boys or your brothers and whatnot. I don't do it every day. I feel like there could be a little bit more of a balance, just so nobody has too much space in my energy, you know, too much power. And like, I could do better with that, but I'm also a creature of habit. I like what I'm familiar with, what I'm comfortable with, and then I kind of, you know, I'm working out of that and just staying spontaneous and whatnot. But when I go out, I have fun. Like the NAACP Awards the other night, the after party, that was probably my favorite party of the whole award season. Between that and Macro, it was a great time. And just because it was so like Black, and I felt so loved in this room. I felt appreciated in a way that I don't normally feel. You know what I'm saying?
So you play Raekwon and Black Spider-Man, so you going to NAACP Image Awards, that's what they made it for.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm saying? And so that was, and I didn't even walk into it thinking like that for real.
Yeah, and that makes it even better, less expectation.
Yeah, for real. And I get there and it's like, it has to be a sort of a, whatever, how people describe Africa. When you get to Africa and it's just like, wait, it takes a show. It has to, some element of that it's like, I got a dose of what that could feel like. I have to actually get to Africa to experience it myself so I can try to verbalize it or create something to represent this feeling. But at the NAACP Awards, I felt that little taste.
Yeah.
You feel me? Because I was like, damn, I feel loved today, for real.
Peace, family. 19 Keys tapping in. I just shot a high-level conversation right here inside this beautiful Black-owned business called Napoli Naturals Apothecary. Now, this business has everything that you need for your wellness needs, and it's right here in the historic landmark area of Leimert Park. The thing is, we want to be able to do partnerships and collaborations, sponsorships with all of the different types of businesses that need that advertisement that people may not know exist, like this beautiful gym right here in the background. So make sure y'all tap in. If you want us to come pull up and you want us to shoot at your shop, make sure you go to 19keys.com or click the link below, right, and sign up so we can tap in and have you on high level. Because the more people that know you exist, the more people that can tap into your services. Peace, family.
Yeah.
What do you want to change about the industry? Like if you was to observe it from your mind, and you like, I'm sure you have had many successes, more than the average actor will ever have. Let's first say that, and kudos to you for everything that you've been able to do and accomplish.
Thank you, brother.
But with all things, especially as creators, I talk about you're a force, so you always see things and want better. You know what I mean? You see things and want some change and be like, you know, this thing could be better for us. You know, there's all of these different talks about creators not getting a fair share, if you will. But what has been your experience, you know, good, bad, ugly, that you want to change or keep the same, whatever comes to mind with it?
I think it's about impact. What I would like to change, what I'm excited about being a part of changing as it's happening, there should be a kickback to us, you know? I think what I would like to change is us being able to see benefits from spending money the way we naturally spend it. It should have a kickback, and there is a way to do that. And I think impact is what's most important with any project. I mean, we have superstars, we have people in very unique positions like Robert F. Smith. You know, he exists within our community, you know. Usher exists within our community, and then Burna Boy exists within, Shamik exists, you exist, you know. And I think the list goes on as far as like how deep our impact could go. Usain Bolt, you know what I mean? And how it can kick back to us as a community is really where I'm focused on, and that's I'm trying to say a lot without saying too much.
So
here.
less about what they can do for us and about what we can do for each other.
Yeah, cause where is it going? Just think about it. You spend money and then that's it. You just spend. You got to go earn money another way, and then that's it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about is a new economy. You know.
So I mean, you are, you know, have privy access to many different people within, you know, your position in the industry. Do you think that, honestly, you know, whether it's the NAACP, whether it's other Black actors and actresses, do you think most people just put on a mask and a face that they really with the Black Revolution and all of that? But do you actually think that people really have their heart and their mind there? Because, and I say that as a caveat to the fact that people got a lot of money.
Yeah.
But you don't see a lot of change.
Yeah.
And when you do see people utilize their money, it's usually in the most safest ways possible.
That's right.
And those ways don't actually create disruptive change that's meaningful. You just doing enough to where you can say, I did something.
Yeah.
But not the most effective thing, because, you know, it's tough when you're in a place of position and you may be insecure about your sources of income and you don't want to disrupt that. So how many people you feel that you meet, right, that are of the so-called Black elitists that actually want to make change and care about it? Or you think they mostly just, you know, thinking about self?
I think as humans, naturally, it's been a trend for years, decades even, in the entertainment industry to be, you know, to spend our money, earn our money, and live our lives a certain way, you know? So it's not, you know, I think it is what it is. I think there has to be, like I said, I'm trying to say a lot without saying a lot.
Man,
but,
say what you gotta say, man.
You know,
say what you gotta say.
I think the main point is
you gotta tap into whatever character you got coming out. That's like The Banker.
Yeah.
You see that movie? You know what I'm saying? Tap into whatever enema that you need to. You feel me? Just say what you gotta say here, man. We don't mind.
So as far as like what I feel like, as far as how people in the industry think about the movement and the revolution, or if they want to mobilize or whatever to come together, my perspective is that we've already come together. We're just not building our own. We're not We actually built the house. We're underneath like this roof. It's all built. We're here. We're just the ones holding it up. You know? So the fact that we already exist, like I was talking about before, is just like, who are we making money for? You know? Because there's always splits. Every time. No one gets 100% of whatever it is that they get money from. But there's nothing focused on the neighborhood you grew up in. Or that your fans that made you who you are today are growing up in. Their schools, their lives, their situations, their rent, their gas, their food, their water, their life, you know? There's nothing kicking to that, but everything's kicking to, well, honestly, we don't even know. We don't even know. The point is, like, think about how many of us there really are. And then also think about how many of us that you don't know about. Just think about it. Look up a guy named Carmichael Roberts real quick. Just because you might not know his name, you might not know who he is. Just look him up. You know? just as a random name, just to think about real quick. It's just like, there's so many people in unique situations that happen to be Black. You know what I mean? Whether or not they're mobilized to do something and fight the good fight, it's like, maybe it should be convenient. Maybe there's a way to make it convenient for you to do good. Maybe somebody, you know, has made a way for that to happen, and, you know.
Well, we would like to think so, but, and this is like, for me being God's advocate for the people asking the questions for somebody who was young and has that insight. You know, I seen you with John Boyega. John Boyega is somebody who, you know, I admire in the way he utilizes his platform, right? He finds his pockets where he get to speak his piece to where you know what he stands for. And then at the same time, he understands that I still have to work in this space, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not trying to tear down my own opportunities,
Right.
but I can still be myself. And it's this push that we got to have to where it's like, you have to make more of the revolutionary thing standard, so it's safer for people to be who they genuinely are. Say what they genuinely want to say, do what they genuinely want to do. Right? I'm cool with my brother Jaylen Brown. He had the top NBA contract, and the first thing he come out to say is, I want to build Black Wall Street. Right? And not only that, and he went and played in the Big Three with Ice Cube to show that he has support. Then he doubling down and he putting on Kyrie Irving shoes, right? While, you know, in the NBA to show support for his independent shoes, you know, after he got done with Nike. And it's like, you can still operate as a Black man in America, being yourself, supporting your own, and be successful. I think what most people think is that you have to give up one, right? And that's not the fact. The fact is that we now live in a day and age where you don't have to give up anything. You can have it all, right? But I feel like we operate from this place of expired fear, right? And when I say expired fear, the things that you fear have really expired, but you still fearing them, right? It's like a lion being stuck in a cage, and when the door is open and it's unlocked, he never go check the door anymore. So he exists in the cage because at this point he's trained to, not because he has to. And I believe that a lot of us don't realize that we're in a day and age to where we can be more fearless, we can make more progress, and most of it just requires communication. Communication rules a nation. That's how I was always taught.
I feel you.
You know what I'm saying? Like media, like we are in the imagination age, right? The children who know you, they know you because you play Miles. I watched that movie, the last one. I seen the last one. I didn't see the first one, but the last one was good. But I've always been into imaginative things, and we don't have enough products that feed our imagination. Because as you talked about, it's not always, I might say it straight this way, right? But you might tell a story. And that story can be stronger than saying it straight because it evokes people to feel connected to the story and see themselves as a character in it. So it's not always about, yo, I need to say, we got to change the world right now. Everybody got to be revolutionary. We got to take it over. No, tell a story about it. Allow people to see themselves and let them know that times have changed.
Well, times have definitely changed. We have people out here speaking up in different ways, wanting to do good. As you mentioned, your boy Jaylen Brown, we can list a few of them, you know. I think there's a way to rally everybody in and make this impact, but I'm also curious about the call to action, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I think strategy, for me personally, strategy is very important. It's more than just mobilizing and getting people to see themselves in the story. For me, at the second, it's about it working and it not being about me at all.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because it's about the culture and the community. I feel like as far as my analysis personally, whenever it gets real, not cute, but when it gets real, that's when you get got, you know? And maybe you're right. Maybe it is expired fear, but, you know, like I said, it's not cute. It's like, it's real, you know?
Yeah.
So I think strategy is really what's of utmost importance, first and foremost, and then it being impactful. Like however we come together, it's got to feel like a full on, like, nah, we're doing this. That each person chooses to do on their own, you know, or eventually find out that they had been participating because they do what they already do, like go to an Usher concert or go see the Spider-Man movie or the Creed movie or whatever, you know. Oh shit, this is like, if it just happened so that you were participating in something that's in your benefit because you were doing what you already do, you know, I think it gets sticky if you lead the people, you know.
Yeah, but you know, that's why I say there's direct leadership and indirect. You know, indirect, you can incentivize people in ways to follow what you do, and directly is I'm doing it myself, so follow what I do.
Yeah.
Right. And like you said, it's strategy. You know, there are so many wars that go on around us at all times. There's thought wars, self wars, media wars, political wars, AI wars, right? There's all sort of different ones, and each one you require strategy.
Mm-hmm.
Just a war of life to get to the place that you want to be,
mm-hmm.
right? And when you're being strategic, all it's basically saying is you're taking a step back and you're thinking.
Yeah.
You're thinking about how you want to move next.
Yeah.
And most people are not thinking, they're reacting.
Yeah.
Things are happening, I'm reacting to it.
Mm-hmm.
No, what's your strategy,
mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
To get to that end result as you talked about. Like, let's say Hollywood as it is today, there's tools that they're creating right now to change what Hollywood will be in the future, right? They got Sora, made people scared when they came out with the AI tool that can generate images based on story prompts, right? Then they got the sound engineering tools to where that can eliminate a whole industry.
Right.
To where if they create an AI and it automatically generates the sounds that's in connection to the videos.
Right.
So what does that really do though? It's saying that, all right, what is the future of Hollywood? What is the future of movie making?
Mm-hmm.
Right now, it's currently in this space to where those who have the tools create these, it's a barrier of entry. I can't afford that camera setting. I can't afford a sound engineer. You can't afford an editor, a lighter. You can't afford the graphic design. You can't afford the actor. So you can't tell your story at the highest level, right? But what then happens when you don't need to afford it? You just need to be able to think of it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can clearly communicate that story, now you have a movie or a cartoon that can compete, right? With a Disney possibly, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now it's forcing everybody to think, where are we in time? Because that's important, right? A lot of people, you know, don't really take the time to think about where are we in time and when are we in time. And we are in the time of great technological shift, but that shift also comes in shift of the way we think about everything. When we see technology shift, technology is a force that changes things. So how do people think about themselves? And as we get more access, how we think about our next move? You feel me? So
I feel you.
That's not on one individual person. That's just on everybody to realize the opportunity of the moment right now.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, the opportunity of the moment right now is that we can all communicate with each other instantly and then decide what is next, whatever that decides to be.
Yeah.
And in every revolution, if you will, you was in the military, you understand everybody has a different position to play. Everybody's not the soldier.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Somebody got to cook. Otherwise, the soldiers don't eat.
Yeah.
And that meal is just as important as having a soldier on the field.
Yeah.
So it's like, once you realize like the role that you have to play in this world, it's easier to play. Pun intended.
Exactly. Nah, understood, man. Yeah, we speaking the same language. I'm just being like cagey, but no, I'm inspired
That's all
always by by our people, honestly, and motivated to make impact as an actor. You know, we got some interesting roles coming up that I think would be good for the conversation.
Anything you can talk about?
Well, yeah, Riz is directing it. He wrote it. This is our third project together. I'm very excited for it. I've been starting to get in shape and whatnot for that role and
I'm
that
still
character.
waiting on my call, but it's cool.
You know, you might get one for all we know. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Hey.
You feel me? No, I'm excited about that. I'm excited. So, of course, there's the next Spider-Man, and you know, we got some other things on the table, but
We getting that live action too?
shit, man, we're gonna see. We're gonna
Pushing
see.
the cart before the horse?
You know, I think I would do an amazing job because I would put my spirit into it.
I'm going to say you would do an amazing job, and you've already played, you know, the cartoon version of it, and it's been beloved, and that's made billions of dollars, and everybody loves that character.
You know,
And you're physically fit to play the role. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
In real life, you look like Miles.
Just
You
gotta
shave a little
the
bit.
beard. Yeah, shave the beard. Run 5 miles a day for like 3-4 weeks.
Lamb up.
You know what I mean?
You ready to jump off wall.
Yeah.
Nah, that'd be crazy not to cast you. I think it just makes the most sense in the world. But,
Yeah.
you know, that's
Exactly.
the future.
You know, exactly. Either way,
Inshallah.
inshallah. Either way, original IP, I think, is the route that my energy is going. It's like ownership. You know, I'm really inspired by animes, man. Like some of these new shows being created overseas, of course, and it's just original.
Yeah.
It's just new stories, you know, and it's like, man, I would love to see something like this as a TV show or a movie. And these are the kind of things that aren't really getting made today. So, you know, just original projects. That's what I'm on. So just lining up with writers and directors, creating projects and pitching them, selling them.
I love that.
You know?
So you talked about, I want to go back a little bit. You talked about going to therapy 3 times a week.
Yeah.
I remember Damon Idris was talking about after he was done playing the role of Frank, how there was a darkness that was over him after the role. And he talked about essentially like tapping into like the devil when he was playing it, because he had to really go there as a character. And he realized that, you know, he had tapped into something that was more than, you know, more than necessary for what he was doing. You feel me? Tapped into that dark energy, which is a very real thing. I want to know, like, you know, because mental health issues and brain health issues and spiritual health issues are prominent right now in society. And a lot of times we do see actors burned out, but not just actors, black men, you know, burned out in a world where we don't get to take up the proper space. We don't really get to express ourselves and be ourselves in a way that we want to show up in the world. We have to be a tailored version that the world accepts, right? So, you know, number one, have you dealt with some of those same things when it comes to dealing with that darkness that you have to get off yourself and get back into your own light?
In my own ways, man. I think I never really got out of any of my characters because of how I get in them. Like I said, they're just kind of, I have identified who that person is within me.
You have a process?
Yeah, I get to know that person himself. I get in that mirror. So if I'm like, you know, insecure as, excuse my language, but if that's how, then I'm going to embrace that part of my nature. You know what I'm saying? To where I would be more familiar and et cetera, you know, and play a role. If I'm adrenaline junkie, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to start like being more spontaneous in real life to understand what does that look like for me? You know, if I'm like super menacing, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like kind of, those are things I don't give myself permission to explore as Shameik, you know, but to explore it for a character, I now understand within my own skin what the authenticity of the emotion or the characteristic is, because I've shined more light on it in order to understand it more. So therapy for me is management of all of the emotions or characteristics that I embrace, that I maybe wasn't raised embracing, you know. But we all learn and evolve and grow. Experiences change people, etc. I'm always thankful that I didn't have to experience certain things in reality, in order to, you know, learn and whatnot. I am somebody that does take heed from what I hear from my elders and people I respect, and I still have my side of it. But yeah, so as far as like, you know, Damson and him getting out of character, or Michael B, or, you know, everybody that has talked about this, you know, everybody handles it differently. It's a necessity though, for sure. I haven't played like some crazy evil character. Role, yeah. So I don't, and you know, Snowfall or with Franklin and Raekwon, two different characters, but I'd say like the drug game and, you know, protecting your own and whatnot, you know, that's one layer of it. But, you know, playing the Joker is like, you know, a little different.
Yeah, you going schizo, bipolar.
It's a little different.
Manic. You got to tap into something that you don't even ever want to become.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? At least, you know, St. Franklin he was the boss. He was cool. You know what I'm saying? Raekwon, Raekwon.
Yeah.
I mean, hip-hop legend.
Yeah.
So that one got some swagger to it.
Yeah.
But, you know, when you got to go into them dark forces, it's hard to step out.
Yeah.
But I know have you experienced that with like just talking to other actors about some of their bouts of dealing with that? Because that's interesting to have. So to me, it sounds like you're not going to therapy for y'all personal issues within your life that stems from experiences that you had. It's from the emotions you deal with in these characters as being an actor, right? But then differentiating who you weren't with, tapping into these different elements that you really have no life experience with, but now you have emotional experience with, right? And not knowing how to, you know, tailor that from who you really are to, is this really a part of me? Or is this something I jumped into, or was it always there? So is those the type of questions that you go through?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it is more of a thing where, you know, time and how we perceive it, as you were talking earlier, you know, just on that frequency, you know, when I'm gone is the moment I was born. You know what I'm saying? This 100 years is like, you know, it's billions of years on Earth. You know, it's like I'm barely here for real. So, as far as like, did it exist? I couldn't accomplish anything that doesn't exist. You know, I think embracing it and like embodying it is management of those emotions. Yeah, because it's more like life situations that come up now, you know, where it's like, I didn't learn to fight to like just pop off at everybody I see. I'm knocking you. Nah, it's not. I learned to fight to protect my future wife, my future daughter, to protect myself, my mother, like my loved ones, my friends, if I have to. You know what I'm saying? It's sweet, but you got caught slipping. And that's kind of like how I would approach.
But that's the soldier in you as well, though.
But emotionally, exactly that bull energy, you know. But emotionally,
I'm in the military. You know, I grew up in going to private military schools. You're right, there was Muslim private military schools, but you get that same foundation. We drilled all year round. You feel me? So I equate, if you look at a soldier and a gangster, to me, you know, the difference is the discipline. Right? But the heart is the same.
I said that the other day. I said that the other day. That's crazy.
It's the same. Because I'm always looked at that. I'm like, for a soldier to go out on the battlefield, the difference is he's believing in something bigger than himself. Right? And he's surrendering to that authority. And then a gangster, he's in connection, whether it's his own ego or whether he's a part of a gang, to something that he's a part of. And when you have that ideology and that belief system, it's a very strong reward system that you can use to channel for why you're doing what you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, however we get to see, I despised the whole experience in the military setting. I didn't like it a little bit.
Yeah.
But there are kids that loved it, you know, their parents, and I just didn't belong. I remember telling them, like, listen, I don't want to be here. And the sergeants or whatnot, it's like this black kid just, you know, he's just, you don't want to be here? This is an honor to be here. And I'm like, no, I don't want to be here.
Yeah.
You know, and my mom only put me there because of my older cousin getting busy in school, doing a lot. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So she's just
trying to keep you out
preventative work. And I'm like, God, Lee, you know? So anyway, it's funny how you described the gangster version of it versus the soldier version. And even though I was raised more like disciplined like that, you know, being able to experience moments like my first fight and I'm defending myself and I those are the parts where it's like, and it becomes intoxicating. That's why I do therapy, because like I could go as far as I can conceive myself going, you know what I'm saying? And I might not really understand the depths of like not stopping because I've never not stopped. You get what I'm saying? But me being familiar with the emotion I might invoke in a character, if I'm ready to, you know, like in me, in order for me to play it and for you to believe it at home, you got to feel me and I have to feel it. So those are things that, I mean, just getting out of violence though, but also it's like, even like with love, you know what I mean? I don't know if I love the same way in reality as I might on camera. You get me? So it's but I can tap into these different versions of it.
Right.
You know, oh, Shameik, you know, you might have to turn it on for her. Yeah, I can do it. I can walk over there, look her in the eye, give her a nice little compliment, whatever it is. Or it can be the switch up. It could be the code. If she needs gangster energies, you know, you got to leave the Glock on the counter or something. You know what I'm saying? If she, you know, it's not that I can't do it. You know, it's just that that's a character for me. You know, so me like I might be attracted to this girl, and she might like that energy out of me. So I find this person bringing this out of me more than I might naturally be doing so. You know, so being careful of the people in my circle is also a part of like, you know, therapy, I think, and just management, protecting what it is that we're building. And I think I do a pretty good job of that. You know, I have some people I trust around me. And it's not a lot of people anyway. So, and then that goes to the fun conversation, like letting loose and whatnot, you know, balance is important, you know, because I definitely get caught up in like, I'm building this, we building this. So protecting the mind, protecting the heart, protecting the whole circumference, you know, in order to attract and be a magnet, you know, to then create generational impact, to shift culture, to be disruptive, you feel me? Like to really touch. You know, that whole idea, this is my first question, being raised as a Christian and whatnot. The whole idea of like, be like Jesus, to me, I started really thinking about that line. You know, I was told the man was walking on water. And turning it water into wine, you know, healing the blind, you know? So if I am, if what I'm being told is I'm capable of doing all of these things, I am made in his image as well. Just like I'm his son too.
Yeah.
That's what I was told.
Yeah.
You know, I want to walk on water, you know? So my perception of it, I wanted more knowledge, because if I'm able to do so, and maybe I just needed to understand. And then I started thinking about it I started thinking about it like brands, and it's just a terrible way to think about it. But it's the truth on how it started calculating in my mind. These different religions are like Nike, Adidas, and etc. And you can choose, but either way you're dressed. You know what I'm saying? You have clothes on your back, and the person you are is the person that you are. You know what I mean? Your choice of I think it's bigger than like, when I was questioning that whole process, it became, what am I doing with, because I know my imagination is ill. I know, like, if it's really like what you imagine you can create, you know what I'm saying? Then it's about manifestation in general. And maybe that's what it is to be like. It's to manifest, it's to actually create something, it's to do something, it's to embrace the God within. You know, and God is creation. It's everything. It's you, me, it's right. I don't have to tell you this, but if it's every memory of everybody that's ever lived, happy, sad, angry, whatever, that's creation. We talk about a movie, we talking about a song, we talking about some clothes. What is that? Nothing. It's nothing. It's irrelevant. It's a moment. It's systematic, but it's appreciated. I love to get fly. You know, my boys Beast Story made this today. I thought it was a great story. East Atlanta, you know. And that just jumps back into it for me. It's like, I appreciate what we're creating. I love to create what I'm creating, but I look at where we are in the community right now and look at God. My perception of God is that he's all of us. He's so to mobilize it, is this person to believe in it the way that I'm believing in it? Are they ready to revolutionize? When anybody's killed, you know, Trayvon Martin, Breonna Taylor, there's like we come together, you know what I mean? It's like a moment, but why does it happen? The thing is, it can happen, but it's happening out of fear or out of anger, you know what I'm saying? But not by choice. Okay, so we have to or not by our strategy, someone else's strategy.
Reactionary.
Somebody else's strategy got us doing exactly what they expect us to do. Let me stop before I get down there.
No, it's fine. I think it's understood. I think that it's the difference between being reactionary and revolutionary. You know, if these are the things that you truly feel, then you don't need tragedy to bring them out of you.
Yeah.
Right? And Black death should not be your incentive to want to correct life. Right? It should, because most of the time it's Black male death.
Yeah.
Right? And so when you see a Black man get shot in the street, his body is used as a marketing campaign to create anger, right, off that pain. But what it really does is create more trauma. And it creates this cycle. And it doesn't make you feel like a victor, right? It makes you feel defeated. So this is what we talked about in the beginning, like we all need heroes, right? We don't have enough hero stories, right? When we tell them of the culture. You go to certain parts of Africa, they're going to tell a hero story. Not a story when we're defeated in shackles or chains or things of that nature. Like, no, they're going to tell you a story of a man who can, you know, beat the impossible odds, right? So if for many, Jesus is that story for them, right? This is somebody he flipped tables. He was revolutionary. He talked to the state. He told people what they needed to do. And he went against what he considered the corrupt government, right? And he performed miracles for the people that watch. Like, that's a hero's tale, right? And almost every prophet is a hero's tale, except the fact that most of them end, right, you know, in an unfortunate way, right? Because a lot of the heroes get killed. But we don't have enough of those stories in us to where we feel like, oh, I can absorb that character and be that character in real life, right? Which I think is necessary. So when we talk about, you know, media and feeding the imagination, there's this focus on like, what is the collective belief? What do we collectively believe, right? Whatever we collectively believe, we'll collectively achieve. That's just the process. If we go into metaphysics, we become connected to that vision at some point in time. The problem is that we have all of these different beliefs and we're so diverse that when we get money, as we talked about earlier, we get power and position, we're going to empower our beliefs. But if all our beliefs are different, we're all empowering something different.
Right.
And then we start having conversations about how come we don't have nothing collectively? Because we don't believe anything collectively. What do we believe we deserve? What do we believe we want the world to be in the next 20, 30, 40 years? If these are not thoughts, because when you ask somebody about artificial intelligence, about the world, it's all of these grim thoughts about what is possible to come. And these come from stories that were once told. Right? These are stories that you told, you digested, you believe. Now you're actually helping and harnessing energy towards that belief. So we have to now impose our own beliefs on the world, write our own stories, play our own characters, share our own visions. let those become the things that go viral in the world. One of the people always talk about Ryan Coogler's Black Panther movie, and some people speak about it in the most beautiful way. It's almost like Obama. Some people go speak about Obama, I loved him. And then some people say he did nothing. Some people speak on Black Panther, say I loved it. And some people say, man, that's fake. That's theirs. But both of them, what it did is Obama helped the confidence of young Black children, especially at that time in Black America, break through what they believe was a ceiling of possibility, right? And Black Panther at that time allowed us to imagine a world, what it would look like if we built it uninterrupted, right? And then we were the hero in that story. Now, granted, you go throw in some saviors, you know, it's not from the culture because that's just how narrations are wrote. But if we can imagine that from ourselves, now we can think it's possible, right? Because it's inside your head.
Right.
So it's like the greatest weapon used against us is our own imagination.
Yeah.
And so if we can collectively ask each other, what's your vision? Because that's going to let me know the direction that you pull your resources towards. And if we ain't got the same one, then you might as well not even be my brother.
Yeah.
Right? Because we're not working towards the same thing. I would rather be around my tribe. People who understand like me, think like me, same values, mission, vision, purpose. Because now you get $1 billion, guess where it's going towards? The resources that I ain't got to convince you nothing. I ain't got to go find you and be like, bro, let's do this. Bro, you're like, bro, I'm already on it. Where you been at? Let's go. So it's like that type of flow, because right now we have too much friction. We're trying to convince each other and we shouldn't. It shouldn't be no convincing. It should be, bro, this is what I'm doing, this is what you're doing. So for me, it's less about collaboration and more about cooperation. You have your operation, I have mine. Let's co-opt it. Let's do it together. Right? It's a dual thing. And then that becomes more flow because we put the words out there, but we don't actually have the formulas and the framework. So we are magical people, very magical. I mean, we super magical. And everybody else understood us as magic. It's amazing. That's why you got the Black Mermaids, why you got the Black Spider-Mans, right? That's why you got the Black Panthers, because it's magic. But what about that magic is when you put a system behind it. When you put a system, now you can reproduce that magic over and over and over and over and over. So we've always been the product of systems, but never controlled the resource to where we say, hey, how about we benefit from it every time our magic shows up? Not from asking somebody, but from the fact that we created it. It's ours. It's done. And anybody want to partner with the magic, you can partner with it for sure.
You
We'll
hear
do
that song
business with you.
playing?
It's
That's God.
good.
That's God talking
You know
right
what I'm
there.
talking about?
That's God. That's
But
that frequency.
It gotta be magic, science, and systems. But
Yeah.
sometimes we only focus on the magic. We forget the science and we forget the systems.
Well, there's a way, and it's happening.
Yes, sir.
And we are on the precipice of a new economy because we don't have to go get the influence. We already got it, you know? So yeah, everything else is more like inshallah.
Yeah.
You know, I think everybody, like you said, are doing their mission as God is operating, but I didn't say what you just said out of your mouth. You know, you said it, and I know what was happening, right? So it's all like, sounds like the same thing to me. Usher got on the stage the other day at the NAACP Awards and ended talking the same way. You know, it's like, you know, there is a collective consciousness for sure. And it's God operating. He knows what he's creating through all of us. And like you said, you know, it's not really convincing one another. It's just like I didn't convince you to inspire that comment, you know, and we spoke on the side, you know, earlier at the crib or whatnot. Like that's what we're working on over here is yeah, it's 4 years in the making, and it's about to be a real thing. So
yeah, I mean, you know, I seen I think it was Method Man. Let me make sure. Somebody sent me something today about how when he was, I believe, it was Method Man. He was speaking on racism in the movie and television industry. He said he had meetings where they told me that Black people don't watch television, right? And now you get to see him like working with 50 Cent and playing a lawyer, right? And it's been those kind of things throughout time that's been our blockade, right? Where we don't get to fulfill our dreams because we're asking somebody else to do it for us. And we asking permission, right?
Ooh.
And why are we asking permission to get our dreams done?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We've had so many brilliant ideas. So like the movie industry, I think Marvel is like the most, I love Marvel, first of all. Just the characters, you know what I'm saying? Wolverine is my favorite character, I always say.
Oh, I love Wolverine.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
'Cause
yeah.
I relate to Wolverine.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Yeah.
I tap into that. But it's like we have the ability to come up with so many creative ideas. And throughout the last 100 years, we've seen 0.1% of those done.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So we have not yet get to experience the world where our imagination is let free.
Mm-hmm.
And when we do get an outlier of a show, it disappears. It becomes a super hit, and then all of a sudden it's gone. Where did it go? Right? So it's like now this is my inspiration, that when I see Taraji P. Henson talking about not getting paid, and I see people, and it's like, I hear the complaints, I hear the problems, I hear the issues, but the reality of it is that we don't have to have them no more. You feel me? Because we can create our own platforms, own movies, own shows, own resources, and get it done.
Boom.
So it's like,
Boom.
who
Stop.
are we really crying to? Are we crying to them? Or are we crying because we're not working together?
Yeah.
That's the question.
Yeah.
Like, where are those tears really flowing from? The industry go industry.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because that's their business. So you want to change somebody's business model, you have to protest them to get
Yeah.
them to change their mind.
Yeah.
But when it's your business, you just build the business model correctly the first time and no reparations need to be given.
Shifting perspective is the key.
Yeah. So, when other actors, such as yourself, they get in the game and you started like, what, 12?
12, yeah.
So, it's hard to give a blueprint for that, but.
I mean, the blueprint was the same blueprint I'm taking right now, to be honest. A little different emotionally.
Yeah.
More outgoing at 12 than I am today. A lot more introverted, if you can believe that. But at 12, I'm walking up to the director like, yo, you gotta put me in your video.
Yeah.
You put me in your video, I only need one take, I promise you. I'm gonna be on that. You gonna use this. Soulja Boy like, hold on, let me see what he's talking about. Let me see what he's talking about. I'm getting up there, my friends joining me, we dancing. That casting director ended up getting called for like all the music videos, Lil Wayne, Carrie Hilson, and whatever in Atlanta. Then it was a commercial, Cartoon Network commercial. Same lady called me or called my parents or whatever. We got there. That led to Tyler Perry's House of Pain audition. That was my first actual acting job. Read Between the Lines, bunch of voiceover things on the radio, like Publix and whatever. Mm-hmm. And then that led to Incredible Crew when I was 16. Yeah. And then, and actually music was really heavily in the mix at that point in time in my life. I was touring and performing and,
yeah, you got some vibes, I heard.
Yeah.
You got some vibe.
So I actually started off like more, and then Dope happened, and then it became an official shift of energy. When I was young, people was like, you'll never be nothing more than a dancer. If you was going to be in music, it's got to be as like a background dancer in a boy band. Then I started acting, and people was like, I remember Jacquees called my phone one day. He was like, hey, yo, Young Meek. I was like, they calling me Meek these days. My agent told me to go by Meek, but you could always say Shameek or whatever, you can call me Young Meek forever, that type of thing. I'm talking to him like that. That was the first time I got into it with Jacquees. That's like we both grew up in East Atlanta, and I bring it up because it's like that energy of like, that shift of like, okay, it's happening. People start making like a official, like, you're an actor now. I'm perceiving you this way. This is how you feel about yourself. This is how you make me feel when you think about it like this. And that was my first lesson in that. It was from my brother, Quee. And it just kind of kept going and going and going. And I've learned in many different scenarios. By the time Dope came out, cause I had the same energy with like Pharrell when I first met him, cause he did the music for Dope and etc. And I just felt like I couldn't quite get to Pharrell. I was like, how, you know what I mean? Like, am I doing too much? I was doing too much. But I was being myself at the same time. That same like spark of like, but it was a lot. And so he did talk to me at Cannes, and he shook my hand. He was like, "Listen, you were he said acting is like purpose, He was like, you are too talented to speak on it to anybody. Just show them." You know what I'm saying? He was like, you're too good to talk about it. And it really hit me because I didn't know how to take it when he first said it, to be honest. But it made me, because I didn't have a therapist then at 19 or whatever I was, you know what I'm saying? And I didn't, he sent me down that journey of reading, what is it? The Four Agreements? No, The Alchemist. That was Pharrell. So when we read The Alchemist, we were reading the Four Agreements, The Secret, that led to the Master Key System, which led to Conversations with God and A New Earth, or all these books, these self-help books that opened up me questioning religion and then led to all of this. But so Pharrell was another moment where I think at that moment, and I understood, I started shifting to like be more internal as much as possible, to be more tactful, better received, the Breakfast Club interviews, another thing. The first one was like, oh, he's like shy and quiet and that kind of thing. The second one was like, when I started playing Raekwon, it was like, yo, he's so confident. Who does he think he is? Yeah. Then they see the performance in Wu-Tang. And then now when you go look at the comments today, it's nothing but, nah, he knew what he was on. Like, we always be hating on Black excellence. Let the young guy live. All of that type of energy. The social media Rosa Parks moment happened, and that's when I was like, damn, I gotta be careful. Like how I'm talking, like maybe I wasn't open to hearing what anybody was saying to me, or maybe I was taking it in, but it wasn't like, it just was a huge learning moment for me, because how people perceive me is one way, but I know my reality. So having that disconnect was more painful for me than like some random whoever like saying something under my pictures or whatever. Like that's just, they say all publicity is good publicity. So in that regard, in my mind, I kind of, that was whatever. My movies are still, I'm still a pillar in the community. I intend to be a light. I intend to be myself. You're not going to stop. I'm an unstoppable force that will never change, especially as I stand on culture and I stand on business and I speak up. Every time I'm a deliver, you know what I'm saying? You can count on me like you count on Google, you know what I'm saying? To do what I got to do.
Talk to me.
Hey,
look, I'm just here.
I don't mean to like, I think I'm just saying like in that moment, as I'm like, it became about impact to me as I started to reflect and see like how I'm rubbing people. And
it's interesting because I like the advice Pharrell gave you, actually. If you go into like human design types, some people have a part of their personality where it's kind of wait for the invitation is what it's called. That's the strategy. And what it means is that you operate within your full force and flow of energy. You show up and do everything that you're supposed to do, right? And then you let people recognize it. And then that's when all of the rewards come. That's when all the invites come. That's from everything that comes from the benefits of you being in your operation. But when you have to constantly ask, or you have to be at that person that's selling yourself and pushing yourself onto other people, you're not in flow on how you are and how your human design is. And it sounds to me that you more in flow when you are in that wait for the invitation strategy. I'm operating, see me. Because it feels so much better when somebody recognizes you and then they be like, yo, I need you to come here. I need you to do this. Like, yo, we love your work, right? That gives you a different level of fulfillment and feeling of success. So I'm a big believer on understanding your human design, understanding your Myers-Briggs, right? Doing all of the personal assessments to have a customized file of yourself to understand why do you operate in certain ways. Like I know all my gifts, or most of them, right? And I'm always going through a constant examination to reminding myself of my gifts. Because if I find myself where I'm not in flow, then I could become bitter. And it's only because I'm not operating based on my design framework. So I like the advice that he gave you, because it was really telling you like, bro, you are him already. Just operate like you him and stop telling people you him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because if you have to sell somebody something, sometimes it means that they have in their mind made up that they want to buy it.
Yeah.
Good product will sell itself.
Yeah,
like
good
dope.
product will sell itself like dope. Good product will sell itself like dope. Nah, 100%. 100%.
Who gave you the best? So you've had these interactions that you sound like you are able to capture and keep. You store these memories.
Yeah,
so tell me
absolutely.
about some more good, positive interactions that you've had, or not so positive, that served as lessons that you had with people, throughout the industry.
Look, even the ones I just told you, I feel are positive because I reflect on them.
Definitely.
Yeah, I reflect on them in a way that, because they mean something to me. My first argument with Jacquees when I'm like, and whatever, like those are things that that make me look at myself, and understand how I'm, again, rubbing people. Because I won't know unless somebody was to say something to me, because I'm operating innocently out of purity. And so some other things I would say that kind of shaped where I'm at now, as far as how I'm thinking about impact in the community and my art or creation as a young God. As I learned more about knowledge of self and embrace my experience, I think out of that whole social media thing, I was able to start digging with a few interesting people. That's when me and RZA's relationship got a lot deeper, because everybody pretty much said I said that on the wrong in the wrong way at the wrong time. But when you hear what I have to say, essentially I'm bringing awareness to the importance of supporting Black-owned businesses, period. There's 40 million Black Americans. 25 cents a day across 40 million people for 1 year is $3.6 billion. That was the only point I was trying to make. That's math. That's 1 + 1 = 2. That's math. You can do it yourself. 25 cents a day across every Black American for a year would be $3.6 billion. You know how much a Netflix subscription was at first? $7 a month, 25 cents a day.
I mean, listen, and I don't mind taking the dagger. Shout out to Rosa Parks. Shout out to all people of that time.
Keep me out of trouble. We just touched that for a quick second.
No, it's all positive. It's all positive. But it's just a simple fact that the media and people in the media know what they're doing. The only reason they twist things is so that they can get views and clicks, right? Otherwise, they would expound upon your perspective with full context so that people didn't misunderstand. What most of the media does is they do it to where they want to manipulate people, put things out of context so that people can get angry. They can flow for advertisement. That's their game. That's their gambit, right? Most of the time, a person never needs to apologize. It's just adding more context to be understood. Because when people are not understood, then that's when the ignorance and the anger pops up, because now you think somebody crazy. Now you think that they're weird. Or now you think there's a problem. But the reason I like having long form content and conversations, because it's very hard to misunderstand me, because I have enough time to expound upon my points. And even if you disagree, you can't be mad, right? Because I'm allowed to have my perspective.
Right.
Black people are not a single monolith. We all have different perspectives on history, on time, the future, and there's nobody who gets to decide what that overall perspective can be. Right. And there's so many different ways to take it, especially if you're pulling something positive from it. Our generation is different. We're going to look at the past differently, right, than a baby boomer, right, than Gen X, right? The millennials, the alphas, the Zs, they're all going to look at it completely different as far as what was actually taking place during these time periods. Whether we're going back to the civil rights, whether we're going back to the 80s during the crack era, whether we're going into the 90s where you go to hip hop, right? And we go into the 2000s and the missed opportunities of the internet. We gonna look back on all of these and say, first of all, we're trying to figure out how do we make sure the same things never happen again. What were better ways that we could have done it? Because nobody can ever argue there was never a better way. We just didn't know all our options. And as I talked to my brother Nuri Muhammad, he said that there's the 3 sights that men have. We have hindsight, which of course is looking in the past and being able to gather a better perspective on what could have been. There's insight, which is looking into the present, understanding where we are right now and the best way to move. And then there's foresight, looking into the future on what could be. So, you know, you can never punish somebody for having hindsight. You can never punish somebody for their insight or their foresight, right? Because then you want people to follow you blindly. And that's not justice. So you can take that.
Yeah.
I speak for you, man. I'd be your articulate voice. You're talking about, because they can't come at me because I got enough. You know what I mean? I can handle any perspective thrown.
Yeah.
And, you know, we have integrated into multiple places that weren't the best spaces for us. And we weren't always thoughtful about what we should build for ourselves.
Integration is not the issue. I think integration without infrastructure is the issue.
That's the problem. But that's what their idea of integration was, because if you didn't have a plan for infrastructure, then it was always just integration for acceptance,
right,
versus ownership.
Well, from my understanding, there was the Black Power movement that was getting, you know, people forget too, like there's documentaries on it. Martin Luther King, I mean, there were Black people that were upset, spitting at him, like not, you know, calling him all sorts of things. When he was alive, it was when he was gone that the story really shifted.
He ain't become more popular until after death, when they was able to use the context of his death in their agendas.
Yeah.
Right? So, you know how many leaders we've had in the last 100 years? Martin Luther King is one of them.
Yeah.
Right? And by my opinion, he's not the greatest of them. And the reason I say that is no disrespect to Martin, but in his last days, he said he made a mistake.
Yeah.
Right. And then he was assassinated for realizing that mistake, because he was then going to transition to probably become the greatest leader.
Right.
Right. That we've seen in that space in which he came from, the church background and the way he was leading. So, you know, most of our leaders, all of them, never get to live long enough to even see the full service of who they would have become.
Right.
We lose Nipsey at 33. We lose Pac at 25.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? We lose them too early for them to even evolve. So hindsight, right, is us being able to look back and say, hey, you could have done this, you could have did this.
Yeah.
But at the moment, and from their insight, they can't see all of that.
Yeah.
They don't know what they don't know.
Yeah.
So it's no disrespect to an ancestor when you say that, hey, we could have done this better.
Yeah.
Because you're supposed to be a generation that looks back and say, right, we could have done this better.
Right.
When you die, there's afterlife, and we are the afterlife.
Right.
Right? Time doesn't stop because of you, but the problem is that, you know, we worship stories and we act like we can't have critical thinking and analysis and philosophy anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, no, we're supposed to gather, fellowship, think, right? That's not disrespecting the ancestors. We saying we want to go further. Otherwise, we wouldn't discuss you. We'd forget you.
Right. Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's the disrespect. When we forget you, we don't evoke your name no more. You're no longer alive.
Yeah.
As long as your name is being evoked, you're still alive. We're still trying to figure out how to solve the problems that you was fighting for.
Right.
The disrespect is the fact that we ain't solved them yet.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Facts. Facts. Definition of insanity?
Doing the same thing over and over and over. And that's what we constantly do.
Expecting a different result.
Like, you know? Like I'm one of the ones I represent the advancement.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, we have this culture to where these organizations have become mostly just owned by advertisers. They don't actually do anything anymore.
Right.
They don't actually have any function, because if they did, they would seek and find all of the leaders and support them. It shouldn't be the leaders that go to them. They should be the ones giving out the invitations. But they don't do that, right? Because their goal now is to just be a safe platform that represents something that was, but not something that is. All right, so when we're talking about the Malcolms, we're talking about the Marcus Garveys, right? We're talking about the Martin Luther Kings, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's, the Noble Drew Ali's, the John Horses, right? We can continue to go on and on. The goal is to say, okay, what did they die for, right? And have we solved that yet? Because we're not impressive until we go further.
Here I am dancing to that tune again, God talking.
You know what I'm talking about?
You know what I'm saying? That's all I mean, it's just definitely synergy, brother, but that's because this is a mission that we're all walking. We're walking in purpose. You know what I'm saying?
I'll be Malcolm, you be Martin. It's the movie. This the scene.
Hey, hey, we might actually be in its own.
Can you do a Martin monologue?
I
Have you
couldn't
ever
do
tried
it.
to tap into that?
No, I haven't.
He got that rhythmatic pastor voice.
Mm.
You know what I mean? And man, I was talking to my brother Nuri, he was explaining how they did the test to where Malcolm has more of a voice that is flowing tunes with blues, right? And Martin, what I would imagine would be gospel.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
I tap into those different rhythms as I speak.
Yeah. That's interesting you say that, you know, because you have a very actor, what is it? Analysis on life. Like you look at life, you dissect things, similarly to how
Actors
I do.
are observers.
Yeah.
And it's layers of observation. So it's like first layer is layer of survival from your perspective. This is what I see and this is what I need. Then it is from other people's perspective, empathy. This is what they see. This is how they see me. This is how I see them looking at me. This is how the world sees us looking at each other. So as you peel back and go to these layers, you go into this higher and higher analysis. And so now it allows you to think empathetically how to create, right, from understanding the way people will absorb what's being observed, right? So that's what I've always been interested, even in comedy. Comedians are that as well. They observe reality and they report the truth a lot of times, or a perspective of truth that may be harsh, right? That may be offensive, right? But it's like the thoughts that's not supposed to be said to say them out loud.
Right.
You feel me? But as an observer, every good actor has to be a great observer. You have to notice things the average person doesn't. You have to be extremely empathetic to literally put yourself in someone else's shoes. But I used to invoke my older brother deep into the streets. And I think this is where I first gained that ability to like have that insight to look into other people's eyes. Cause sometimes I felt like I was him, you know what I mean? Because I would see the world through his eyes and take on that energy. And I was like, yo, I really feel like I just hopped in his body real quick and I can see that world. So that's what I imagine. This is what it must be like when actors act, like they really like feel like that person and they invoke and they just jumped inside that body and now they the operator.
Some people do it differently though. You know what I'm saying? Let's be clear. On Wu-Tang, one thing about us, life reflected reality for sure. We had our love, but we definitely bickered just like the actual Wu-Tang.
What y'all bicker about?
I'm gonna just keep it with me and brother Sadiq because I can speak on that's Raekwon and Ghost. You know what I'm saying? So I can speak on my brother. You know, I think for us, it was just like styles. Sadiq is you know, he's in plays and, you know, he's like a theatrical actor. So his approach to doing his scene is very different than mine, you know? So I'm walking out of the scene. I'm like, hey, yo, son, let me get it. You got some, well, where the Bronson at, son? Like, yo, hey, yo, like I'm walking out like that. And he like, nigga, can you take a break? Can I have a cigarette, nigga? you know what I'm saying? He like that. And in my mind, I'm being friendly because I'm not that friendly. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I walk up to him and it's the same thing, like rubbing, like I wouldn't know unless he said something. But, you know, those setting those boundaries and like being able to that's kind of where our energy went. Cause, you know, it's just like,
Yours is more method actor.
If it's method, then it's method.
You don't have to, I know people don't like naming things, but I'm just saying in a way where people can idealize the framework. You know what I mean? Because you absorb that character and it's not just on set, you take it with you.
Yeah. No, it's a part of me. Like 100%. I definitely, I guess it is method acting, you know? I feel like my understanding of method acting is a little, like the approach could be just a little different, but.
Well, I imagine everybody has their own method.
Yeah.
But everybody has to do it their own way. So regardless, it's going to be your original take on how to absorb it. Like I was talking to Lakeith Stanfield years ago on set of Sorry to Bother You, but he was explaining to me he Googled his way into acting. You know what I mean? He said, I just Googled how to act and went to it and just tried it. Right? So I know everybody. That's literally how he explained it to me.
That makes sense.
He like, he said, I Googled it and I decided to try it out.
Yo, Lakeith is a funny dude, man. I got a lot of memories with Lakeith. I know a lot of brothers, man. Sounds like you do too, obviously.
Yeah, I be tapped into people, man.
Yeah.
I like to be behind the scenes sometimes, giving advice, counsel to people when needed.
Yeah.
I think we all need that. You feel me? But going to that space, like your relationship with RZA, you know what I mean? What's some of the best advice he gave you?
Oh, gee, I mean, they call him the Abbot for a reason. It's hard to really put what's the best kind of, honestly, like I was pointing out, we got a little, when I called him and we was talking after that whole moment on social media and he heard what I was saying, he was like, he was the one that told me $3.6 billion across 40 million people is at 25 cents a day is, I mean, he gave me that information. He was like, so I don't think you're wrong. I just think how you went about it, you know, you said it by yourself. It was like an hour-long Instagram live and there's 15 seconds that circulating the internet. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it was all those things. So it was just a lot more like, really that whole line, even though it's not their line, but the bad boys move in silence and violence, take it from your highness. Like don't talk about it. Go step, be about it. So me over here talking to everybody, this is what we could do, this is what such and such said, because it didn't even do anything. It didn't do anything. What it did do is spark the fire within me to realize what I needed to do. You know, and that's his own mission. But with OG, like I think that was probably the most. He moves. He teaches me by how he moves in reality. You know, don't talk micro, talk macro. You know, with me. You know, he's like, yeah, shot. Like, all right, peace. Like he's fast with it. But he's solid. He's like, I don't even know how to. It's hard to put it in. He's my only real like mentor in life so far. Like my first actual like mentor, you know, like a real one. Yeah, it's the RZA. But I learned a lot from a lot of people, man. Rocky had a real moment in my life, being like a influence. You know, Chris Brown had a moment in my life being influenced. It's all, and I think now it's more about like, you know, honestly, I'm walking around knowing what I'm really doing, and I'm looking at our brothers, and I'm looking them in the eyes, and I'm assessing the field. Kind of what you were talking about earlier, like how many of y'all are really ready to like, what's the appetite for impact for real? You know what I'm saying? Like, who are you? Like, how do you move? How are you with your word? You told me you was gonna do something. Did you do it? Do I have to like? I'm just curious. Can I trust you? I'm gonna leave my girl around you for a second. I'm just curious, real quick. Let me see something. Let me see how you gonna move. Yeah. You know what I mean? Let me see before I like. And I put a lot of us through that real quick. I'm a whole actor.
No, I think that's. Hey, to be honest, it's necessary. Everything gotta go through a process. Yeah. A process of refinement, man. A process of trust. Because the reality of it is a lot of people that you meet, they don't even know that you can't trust them. Yeah. They find themselves in a situation and then operate out of their habits, right? And go out of character. Yeah. You feel me? And, you know, for me, I grew up in circles of brotherhood where it's constant testing. You know what I mean? It's constant challenge, constant figuring out if you are who you say you are on a day-to-day, on a week-to-week basis. Just because you were that person last week don't mean you are that person this week. Right. You feel me? So it's that kind of thing. That's from like the military background. It's like you got to show up clean cut. You know what I mean? Hygiene is together. There's all these factors so I can tell where your mind has went and if it's still in that space. Because if you can't show up as the same person week to week, there's something that's happened in between, right? And that's the difference when you're dealing with people. It's everything that happened before you met them, right? Then you establish a relationship, and then it's the things that's happening in between, right? Your connections. Because we on average don't speak to people that we know that often, right? We only have so many times per year we even speak to these persons. And so there's all of the experiences that happen in between that and all these thoughts. So it's like finding brotherhood is almost like creating a secret society, if you will, because there's rites, rules, rituals, orders to make sure that everybody is constantly in line with the standards of that operation. And a lot of times we don't think deep enough on the protocols that's required to establish brotherhood, the fellowship, the continuity, the consistency that has to be there. Like, you all have to meet up and eat and talk. You all have to go work out. You all have to build and challenge each other. All of those factors have to be it, because that same thing happens in family. You disconnect from family, that's your brother by blood, right? But not by friendship.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
I don't even know bro right now. He done went off and did something completely out of character from what I usually know, which means something had to happen in between time to like shift his perspective or influence or trigger something within him that he has not told me. So now I'm not updated on who you are now. I only know the old version of you, and I can't be friends with the old version of you. I can only deal with you as you are now as a man. You know what I'm saying?
You have the A, you have the I.
You know, I'm a futurist, so I like talking about the future.
The future is something that's going to occur instead of something that is already here.
There's always paradigm shifts that happen, and if you don't notice it, then you're just being you're affected by it, and you're unconscious of the shift when things change.
So when you're talking about AI and the automation of jobs and where everything will be, the most important, valuable skills are the ones that computers, AI machines, all those things that they can't do. A robot can't be creative. A robot doesn't have imagination. A robot can't compute compassion. A robot can't be empathetic. A robot can't employ value.
First you get the data. The data creates the algorithms. The algorithm creates the apps. So imagine them being able to control or make the whole entire black diaspora mad with a push of a button. Imagine if they can control the way that we vote, the way that we spend money, the way that we treat each other with algorithms and data science. They can control what you eat, what you see. They can curate experiences, so when you go online, you see certain things from when you open your phone up to when you close it, because they have data on you. They can make us think things about each other that may not be true. And that's just going into the age of AI.
But I'm just interested to see, you know, how you are currently using artificial intelligence.
So for me, education is the most important, because when I look across the spectrum of how all people build their wealth, it's based on what they know.
So now we're going to a point where the singularity for human beings is when we created AI.
I always believe we should be updated on the technology and to be able to utilize it to be the most effective, right? There's something being built all the time.
Now we are in the prompt engineering phase.
They created this program called Midjourney.
Everybody knows about ChatGPT, Claude.ai.
People got to really focus on what's your talents now, right? That work hard, build a skill so that you can have a certain level of leverage in the marketplace is no longer the route.
Every single day when we spend time on things that does not give us an investment back, a return on our knowledge, a return on our time and our power, we're giving up the most valuable thing we have for what?
This is something that everybody in here needs to be putting 10,000 hours in. My formula for AI is AI plus NI equals EI, and that's natural intelligence plus artificial intelligence equals enhanced intelligence. But it works better if you're already smart.
The thing about being a futurist now is you used to predict the future. Now, you just report on the present, because the future is here. As you are a growing young man, what type of man do you want to be? How do you view what a man is today?
I am strong. I am confident. I am honest. I'm transparent. I'm loved by hundreds of millions. I am funny. I'm loving. I'm passionate. I'm talented. I am God. I'm connected to God. I will exceed all expectations, especially my own. I am Spider-Man. These are some of my affirmations.
I wasn't expecting that last one. Got a little sticky right there. I wasn't expecting that one.
Those are my affirmations. Those are ones that I wrote down. I actually have like a lot more. I was trying to go down the list, but those are, the I am Spider-Man one came to life. I think, you know, who am I? How do I see like being a man? You know, I'm raised by very strong men and women, you know, Jamaicans. I'm the first person born in America.
Okay.
So pure-blooded Jamaican right here. just raised in Atlanta. You know what I mean? So I speak a certain way, but every other part of me is Jamaican, and the suit is Jamaican. So, and the mentality about life and et cetera is also from the Christian, Muslim, Rastafarian, Jamaican mentality, you know, pro-black, you know, to its depths. So again, the social media perspective is so like, it reminds me like it's a play. It's like, it's not even reality, you know what I mean? Like, you guys don't even know who I am, you know? And, I feel like we are in a place of equality and, diversity, inclusion, which is important. But curation for our breed of men, could be on the forefront of my mind at the second, you know? I think we should embrace all lifestyles and all perspectives and walks, you know, but, also I want to protect mine, you know? So I don't want to make people feel, I want to be careful with what I'm saying here, because again, I am inclusive here. But as far as what I think about like being a man, I think a man should have his woman, you know, his rock that holds him down in the ways that he needs to be held down. And I think he needs to build and stay focused on the mission. I think he has to lead. I think the man is I mean, what we know a man is supposed to be. I think that's the way I have been raised to see it. That's the way I embrace it. That's the way I like it personally, for my personal walk and my skin, you know? And, I think the question is if I'll have one wife or if I'll go down the African route and have more than one. It just depends. Maybe it's just it really just depends. It really depends on how it all rolls out. Wow. But that's how I would love to have a family one day.
Yeah. Sound like families.
Families one day. Well, you know, I want the right for me. You know what I'm saying? So if that's one woman, then it's her. You know what I'm saying? Like one stop shop. Cool.
But if it's the right women.
But if it's the right women. And it's still for me, you know, and everybody, you know, then it's like, then God did, you know, like, inshallah. And like, it's up to you. I'm just walking. I'm just here. I'm just here, bro. I'm like, show me. 'Cause right now I'm like in a very like, it gets lonely. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I'm on a boat in the middle of the ocean with no Wi-Fi and I'm by myself, you know, completely. But I also have like my small circle and stuff, but they're not on that boat. You know what I'm saying? We're operating telepathically or whatever. I think there's still like and I would love like that energy I'm talking about. And I think it might not be time for me to have it all the way that I imagine it. And I'm manifesting it for myself, because I have to be responsible when it comes. You know what I mean? I think I day to day learn, you know, patience, which is necessary when you talk about life or women or anything. It says, you know, patience with self in general. Understanding of perspective has been something I've been dealing with, like even with my mom and whatnot. Just understanding, taking the time to like, you know, 'cause I'm a bull, I'm a man, I'm gifted with the powers of manifestation. You know what I'm saying? I will see it through, you know, as long as I'm breathing, you can count on the fact that I'm up to something. You know what I'm saying? And you see what I'm standing on. It's like, you know, and yeah, that's basically, you know, I think when it comes to being a man, I think I just want to look in the mirror and be proud of myself through and through with my success on my own meter, you know, with the kind of man I am to the people I love, how the people I love are in my life. You know, do I just love them or do they love me back? Is it mutual? Yeah. Is it, you know, and I dealt a lot with that, with my friendships, you know, with people in my life just in general, let alone lovers.
Have you had to like cut a lot of people off on this journey?
Yeah, pretty much everybody, almost everybody. My guy right here, he him and my other boy was talking about it yesterday. It's just like, yo, your trust, bro, your trust. Your trust, we on your side, bro, your trust, man. And it's like, you know, I pretty much get it in one way or another from everyone around me, you know, and like I said, I don't even mean to, I am on that boat.
Yeah, I mean, you know, there's success breeds anxiety.
Yeah.
You know, constantly thinking about the future, constantly thinking about the people around you if they have your good fortune at heart. What it does, though, as a good trait is it keeps you focused. It keeps you sharp. It keeps you looking for all of the edges. It keeps you making sure that there's nobody behind you trying to snipe you, nobody in front of you trying to trip you, no matter what's going on. It constantly allows you to think of all these scenarios all the time, existent and non-existent. So regardless of what happens, you're prepared for it, right? It's hard to sneak up on somebody that has anxiety, right? And that a healthy amount of paranoia because they're always thinking about the different possibilities. Sometimes you can overthink and those things are non-existent, right? But
that's what they say.
That's a good thing that they're non-existent, right? I'm a Taurus. My brother Amechi's a Taurus. You know what I mean?
Word.
That's how my mind thinks all the time, right?
Yeah.
I have a small circle.
Yeah.
I would rather not. I can deal with a lot of people because I can go into my extroverted state.
Right.
But sometime after that, my social battery is done.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. And then I've been through too many things to where I've trusted people and they've become completely different people than who I thought they were. And so it wasn't about trusting them, it was about trusting myself to analyze people correctly, right? So it have nothing to do with trusting you. I just need to figure out who you really actually are, right? And believe that version.
Right.
But I don't want to have a false sense of analyzation to where I thought I knew who you were, right? And I was betrayed by my own senses and my own skills, right? So that to me is the way I think about trust. It's like, it always goes back to the analogy of a snake, right? I trust a snake and whatever nature that they are, right? So if I know the nature of that snake, one may be a rattle, he gonna have that tail. Well, hey, he's warning me. Another snake might not be poisonous. He bite me, I ain't even worried about it. So now I know how to deal with each variable based on their nature. But if I have the wrong knowledge and I'm dealing with one snake, I ain't even know it was poisonous. So I said, I ain't even tripping. I let it bite me. I'm being a little careless. Now I get poisoned. I ain't mad at the snake.
I'm mad at myself.
Mad at myself.
Yeah.
I ain't even realize this was a poison. I thought this was the, damn, I ain't even got the antidote around me.
You thought it was something it wasn't. And
So that's the way I think about trust. Trust is, it's about your own skill set of analyzation. But of course, when you're dealing with friends and family, you don't want to have any of that there. You don't want to have to analyze. You don't want to have to think. You want to be able to be vulnerable because that's a true strength.
Yeah, but when the vulnerability happens is when I find that that's when you start to people start loosening up. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you're dealing with like the closest people to me, I'm working with them right now. You know what I'm saying? So like, you know, while they are my friends, you know what I mean? And I do trust them the most out of, you know, I guess people I would trust in a normal way, you know, like I would trust you to make a good decision. You know what I'm saying? But I really wouldn't know until I see you in that situation and vice versa. You know, I would expect, for one of these two to move a certain way, but if I see them do something that doesn't feel solid, I'm gonna say something, you know, or I'll say something to myself, you know, and address it with myself. But then like the frequency's off, and it kind of like that goes back to the therapy thing, because then it's a choice on how like to react in different situations, man, in different scenarios. Because I want to be like a healthy person to be around. And yeah, it's hard to, it's not really hard. It's just a intimate thing when you're talking about being a man in 2024, being a boss, you know, being a light, and keeping your head on your shoulders in like this specific industry, you know, keeping my priorities straight. Like, yo, I love to catch a wine. I love to go dancing with like women that know how to dance, love to dance. You know, I I'll enjoy myself like that. You'll find me in the corner at somewhere, like just low key with a hat on, dancing, enjoying myself, and then I'm out like that. But I don't do it as much as I should do it. And my mom always, she'll be like, yo, Shameik, you don't need to hang out with nobody. Just go and do that. Have your fun. Go home. That's it. Like, find your ways to release. So that's been kind of heavy because if the people closest to me feel the same thing in their own ways, then it is something I'm trying to work on and reflect on. And I can't be in my own way. And it feels like I am. And it feels like it's kind of rooted to the same thing that Pharrell was pointing out, that Jacquees was pointing out, that the internet was pointing out. There's like this validation thing that we've identified within therapy. I don't mind speaking about my therapy sessions because I think one of the ways that I want to impact the Black community is through our homes, or we, because it's not just me, it's a movement of us. And you know, I think counseling and therapy and amongst a bunch of different verticals are necessary because we should be able to hear each other. We should close the gap between like your most impactful creatives and like the kids growing up that's dreaming. You know, we got to close that gap so we can build something intentionally. And we're doing it. There's a plan for it, but yeah, that's the trust aspect. That's the Taurus aspect. That's the God aspect. Is like, you know, you also have to embrace, you have to be open to everything, not just what your perspective is, you know, why is this person tripping, da 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 da. So my bro was saying yesterday, also just think about where it's coming from. Why are they responding this way? Why did that person do something that you didn't like? You know, and you can assess that and determine whether or not that's an energy that's supposed to be around you. But I also have problems with the heart in that way. My last thing here, eating yesterday, I'm by myself, I'm enjoying my lunch or whatever, boom. A young Black brother walks up to me. He had on some rings or whatever. He had like a box of chocolates. He was like, yo, buy a chocolate, $4. I was like, $4 for this chocolate? You know, he was like, yeah, you know, I need a jersey. Your jersey? Yeah, because we play basketball. I'm on a basketball team. I need a jersey, you know. How much is the jersey? He said, $250. I was like, your jersey's $250? And he was like, yeah. I was like, well, how many of you are here? He's like, there's like my whole team. I was like, so how many of you are on the team? Because I'm just trying to put the math together real quick in my mind. Like, what am I about to do today? You know? And it gets kind of spotty, like he didn't know. You know what I mean? And I don't watch basketball. I only watch boxing. So it's like, you know, so I'm like actually asking a question. So anyway, I was like, so $250 gives you a jersey and whatever. He's like, yeah. So I gave him $200. I was like, I don't got the 50, but here, like, you know.
Yeah.
But don't keep walking around tables with people eating at this like establishment right here. Like, you know, it just looks funny. Like, here's your $250, you came to me. Or here's your $200, you came to me. Like, find the 50 some other way, but don't interrupt everybody's. Because he was walking up to everybody's table asking for money like that. So I just gave it to him. Anyway, another kid came and asked for money afterwards, a smaller kid, and he was so small, I was like, y'all can't be on the same basketball team. Y'all can't be on the same basketball team. So I was like, wait a second. So what team are you on? He was like, yeah, you gave money to da-da-da-da. I was like, yeah, but he, you know, he looked like he was like 19 or something. He was 18 or whatever. And I already was thinking he's selling chocolates for $250. I think he would wash some cars or something. I don't know. The hustle would be there. I just believed him. I trusted that I was doing good to help and et cetera, you know. And I felt bad for him because of how he was moving. But the kid gave it away. And I was like, yo, who got y'all walking around here doing this? You know? He was like, our coach. I was like, tell him to come holler at me. He was like, well, he ain't here. But well, how are y'all here? You didn't drive here. Who drove you here? Well, we came in a van. Who's our coach? Tell him to come holler at me. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So he runs away or whatever. And then like the people next to me are like, yo, like we got last time too. You know, they're running a little scam over here. They just ask everybody for money. It's like you feel bad, but the guy taking the money isn't even, what they say, it was like Card Rush something, one of the movies, August Rush. Anyway, he's sending the kids out there. He's giving them a piece of it. So I got. To come back to that goes to trust and impact and everything that we're doing right now it's on the forefront of my mind, like the discern. I was supposed to give that $200 to them because it happened. I just happened to look in my jeans pocket that day. I had $200. I hadn't worn the jeans in a second. You know what I'm saying? So I had $200. Maybe it was from Comic-Con or something. Who knows? Gave it to him, you know? And it's a journey. It's a journey. Just with that in mind, touching the community is you know, it has to be authentic to it as well. You know, we can't throw books at our people because we don't want to. Some of us like to read, but we don't want to be preached at like in the military. I hated that. You know, I didn't feel like I found knowledge of self until I saw You Got Served, and only creatively. I still had to dig deeper until I met RZA, started playing Raekwon. You know what I'm saying?
How did you find knowledge of self and You Got Served?
You Got Served showed me dance. It showed me hip hop. It showed me culture versus. Now, not knowledge of self like, you know, God, Allah, you know.
You gotta put context to it.
Yeah, no.
Talk about multiple things.
You know, yeah, knowledge of self being like,
I'm trying to remember the part of the movie I missed.
Yeah.
Nah, about that scene.
Knowledge of self creatively, man, my interior, because I was walking around here like with a shaved head, like I'm one of them. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm planning to go to the army, like, and I'm not. You know, I didn't even want to be there. So so hear me when I say this too. I was 12 when I found out about like Usher or Michael Jackson in that way. My family was playing like the Bob Marley, Peter Tosh, like straight Jamaican, you know, so it wasn't like hip hop. So Wu-Tang and all of that, like, nah, I was, you know, born in 95 personally, you know, and by the time I was 12, like that whole 90s era was like, you know, we was into Fat Man Scoop, you know, the Missy Elliott moments. That's really when I entered. And I found out about my own creative, like, this is how I would imagine a movie scene. This is how I would start dancing. You know, this is what type of music I would want to make. I want to get fly like this. I want these type of sweats. Like, it came from You Got Served. That's what led me to these music videos, which led me to the commercial, which led me to Dope, which led me to where I am today. You know what I'm saying? It was that, you know, that was the beginning of the journey. So can't credit the God within to that one. That would probably be through the RZA and Wu-Tang. But identity, I can credit to You Got Served. You know,
that just got me to an interesting perspective about the different things that people get from stuff, right? Like, I will watch a You Got Served, and I'm trying to remember where I was when I watched it. But I thought most thing I remember about it was the college and the fraternity life.
That was Step Up.
You know what I'm saying? That wasn't You Got Served?
That wasn't even You Got Served, man. God damn. Yeah.
Shout out to them.
No, it's all good. That was for me.
That was isn't that like the
Was it even Step Up? It wasn't even Step Up. It was Stump the Yard.
Stump the Yard, there you go.
Yeah,
Stump the Yard was one. Hold on, so which one was You Got Served? That one the one with Chris Brown got killed in the beginning?
That movie was just like, it was cool. It was cool. It ain't shift the culture like You Got Served now, but it's cool. Like, we did our thing in Stump the Yard. You know, there was another one for the community, another bar.
Oh no, you was in it?
Hell no.
Oh, okay. You said we, like you. I was like, wait a minute, I missed that scene too.
We as a community. We as a community.
I go back and watch this now, man.
Yeah.
Movie sounds so impactful.
Nah, yeah.
But I was just saying, like, it's dope how, you know, art does something different for everybody.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, growing up already in the culture, I would watch a movie like that and it will kind of pass by me. But for somebody that's getting initiated into it, you're seeing all of these new things for one. And then for the first time.
Yeah.
So, like, whether it's You Got Served or Stump the Yard, you know what I mean? I just remember when my older brother was going to college and he was pledging in the frat, you know what I mean? And my sister was pledging and things of that nature. And that exposed me to the idea of like college life and this whole other world, you feel me, outside of high school. But, you know, it just speaks to how movies inform our decisions. You know what I mean? And how powerful movies are and why it's important to think about somebody that's coming from Jamaica, first generation, that hasn't been exposed to the culture. What is that movie now that informs them? Right? So like we make all these remakes of movies, but they don't really have culture in it anymore.
No, they don't.
You know what I'm saying? They're cheap. They try and be funny. And then they throw all these nuances of the new toxic culture that we have to emulate what they say, you know, we're going through, but it's not guiding you. It's not giving you a direction. It's not adding no context, no history. So this is why when the next Shameik that is watching the next movie that's probably going to be a knockoff for one of those movies, they're informed from a knockoff culture. They're not being informed from a real culture. That's not really the beat boy, the hip hop, the vibe, the rhythm, you know what I mean? The real hip hop of how you dress. You know, fashion can be taken into all sort of categories that, you know, I'm probably one of the flyest individuals on the planet, but you know, I got my content. Boop, 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 boop. I know you be doing what you do too, but you know, I do what I do. Like, just
I hear you, guys. Let me get one of them hats.
I got you. We got one for you already.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah, that's done deal.
Okay, cool. Cool.
Let you add that to your drip story.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? You know, let me go ahead and sauce up one time.
So who your Mount Rushmore of the top black actors?
I mean, based off of legacy, you got Denzel, you got Will, you got Don Cheadle, you got Samuel Jackson. How many is that, 4?
You said Will, Denzel, Don Cheadle, Samuel Jackson.
Or yeah, we can even do like a Jamie Foxx. I mean,
I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that. That's good. I probably wouldn't have added Jamie, but he'd probably be in my top 10 somewhere. I wouldn't have said, because I think some other people might have seniority over him that I probably would have had. But Jamie is a solid one though to add in there for sure. Have you worked with any of them?
No.
Have you met any of them?
Yes. I met everybody except Denzel.
Oh, he ain't met Denzel?
No, I haven't met Denzel.
He ain't met nobody till he met Denzel.
What? No, I believe that. I think when I talk to Denzel, it'll be about this Impact joint, not a movie. I'm not really talking to anybody about movies. To be honest with you, I love all of those black brothers, you know what I'm saying? But I'm intending to, like, you know, I think I'm the GOAT in my eyes. I'll be 100% honest.
Okay.
You know.
Now listen, youngster. I gotta speak for the OGs out there in the world. Like, wait a minute, what he just said?
Yeah.
No, you supposed to feel that way. You know what I'm saying?
I'm the GOAT in my eyes.
But you know,
because I see my life from like this view, you know, before I'm dead.
We gotta see some different perspectives from you first. You gotta see.
Hey man,
because
let's talk about
got
it.
Malcolm X.
He got Malcolm X. Yeah.
He got Malcolm X. I
don't got nothing to compete with no Malcolm X.
So you gotta get you one of them ones.
Yeah, you're right.
That's like that hit the culture. Because when I watched Malcolm X, that was my "you got served."
Yeah. I
don't mean to say it that way, but it's funny to have that comparison.
No, I saw that movie. That was a good movie.
But like when I watched Malcolm X, growing up as a black Muslim, it was the first time I got to see my culture on screen. You know what I'm saying? Same thing as I said with Wu-Tang. The first time I get to see my culture on screen. Right? Same thing as like Jay Electronica, when he drops an album, that's my culture in music. Right? So that's rare that I get to see it because it's never truly like in a pure form where I get to watch it or see it.
Yeah.
So this is why like I create so much myself, because I want it to be that archetype that people can see and look up to.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, where do you get that lifestyle from? Where do you get that God body culture from? Like, I represent that in real life, on real time. But as I was saying, Denzel, you feel me? He got them ones. Samuel Jackson got so many movies in it. I don't even know how many movies. He got hundreds of them.
Yeah, I love all of them, man. Let's be clear with what I'm referring to.
No, you can be competitive. I'm 100%. I'm just saying what you had to put on your resume.
Yeah.
For we go from Denzel, Shameik.
Well, let's talk about Denzel and Shameik at this age, not Denzel in its entirety, because Denzel is well seasoned. Right?
What age does Denzel start? Somebody pull that up for me.
Probably in his 30s, right? No, yeah, for sure.
He got that one movie he was a principal in. That was the earliest movie I seen him in.
Because we won an Oscar for The Spider-Verse.
Oh, okay.
When I was 20 or 21. None of anybody we just said did that at 20 or 21. To be clear, my first movie was dope.
I respect
No, this is my case. My first film was dope. I don't pop my shit nowhere else.
No, look, this the platform for you.
No, I'm saying
this your space.
I never do this nowhere else, so I just want to do it as respectfully as possible. I was 22.
No, Denzel was 22 when he started.
Okay, he was 22 when he started. Bet. So, yeah, I was 21 when we got that first Oscar for Best Animation. Now, I didn't get an Oscar for Shameik Moore Best Performance. You know what I'm saying? So there's a difference, but we walked across that Oscar stage. Obviously, if you see the movie, Dope's impact culturally, I mean, either you seen it or you didn't, but it is what it is, you know? The Get Down, same way. We represented the origins of hip hop. So I was a geek for the hood, you know? Then I was hip hop's original bad boy in the Get Down. The first one selling while DJing. We started the parties, the whole Get Down function. Okay, so I represent it. Okay, cool. Then we go into Spider-Verse. Obviously, that's like pushing culture forward, you know, et cetera. The first one, we get the Oscar for that one. Wu-Tang. You know what I'm saying? That's like, you know, either you seen it or you just referenced it, you know. Culturally, we're showing range. We have a comedy that's coming out called The Gutter. Culturally, it's showing range.
Somebody got some Palo Santo.
Some Palo Santo.
Yeah, man. I got to consecrate this moment for the ancestors.
Amen. You know, and I think ideally, I intend by the time I'm, you know, able to be mentioned in a conversation seriously with Samuel L. Jackson or Will Smith or Denzel or Jamie, who have been pivotal in opening up lanes for me to be able to do what I just said my accomplishments were. You know, I'm specifically aiming to compete with their resumes
and it's not just, of course, the black roster, but it will be, of course, all actors, because then you got to throw the Al Pacinos. You feel me? All of them, because let's be honest, Denzel should have got that Oscar for Malcolm. They should have got so many Oscars, costume, direction. Spike Lee should have swept. Right. Should have walked in there and swept, just like Nas should have swept so many years ago, like Killer Mike just swept recently. So I believe at that time, black actors wasn't even really getting their accreditation.
Right,
you know?
yeah.
And the Oscars, remember that whole hashtag Oscars so white? You know what I mean? That was before social media could have these protests. So actors felt like, man, the only media that you can use to complain was their media, right? To protest was their media. So Denzel probably is the epitome of the I'm gonna wait for the invite. You know what I mean? You probably never hear Denzel complain about anything. He just keeps doing the work.
Yeah.
And of course, he's the GOAT. Like you can't even argue with GOAT. You know what I'm saying? It's just done. There's like in hip hop, there's Tupac, and acting there's Denzel. You know what I mean? And it's like, I like the confidence.
Let's talk about impact. Representation is one thing. Let's talk about what the community is getting out of it. A lot of us, actors, singers, rappers, designers, a lot of us made it. A lot of us are GOATs. What did it do for the college tuition? What did it do for the rent? What did it do for the gas money? What did it do for the electric bill? What did it do for the clothes that y'all got to get your kids and whatever? What did it do? Absolutely nothing. It did nothing, you know, but it did uplift us. It gave us representation, which is an accomplishment. It's like integration. It was an accomplishment, right? But the infrastructure wasn't accomplished, right? So yes, we have faces now. We have prominent, legendary faces. But to me, the GOAT is going to be the one that did something with that impact of the legacy. Okay, I look up to you. You make movies. You're a great.
Now you're making the case. Now you're making the case.
This is why I can only talk about me. I can only talk about me. I don't know everybody else's story. You know, I can only talk about me. And there's purpose. There's a reason I'm alive. There's a reason we having this conversation and we talking about the things we talking about and et cetera. I can't afford to doubt what God is using this vessel for. It's in my suit. I'm here. It's like, I can't afford to doubt that, especially in the presence of a God that has knowledge itself, born into it. You know what I'm saying? I'm new. I'm new, and I'm happy to be here. You know, and I have so much to learn. but also look at me that way. I have so much to learn. See me still. You know, don't overlook it. You know what I'm saying?
No, I respect it. See, listen,
You know what I mean?
the beauty about what you said, because I think you take the case into a completely different point when you talk about impact. And I don't know everybody's impact, which is probably the problem, right? Is that we don't make an impact loud enough,
right,
to reverberate, to affect someone else, right? Our impacts are too safe, right? At this point in time, especially with the OGs that we named, like a lot of us look up to them almost as father figures in reverence, right? But it's like the culture needs, we used to have these meetings back in the day where, you know, the Reverend Jacksons and the Minister Farrakhan's and different people all sit together and have these Black conventions and talk about what are the issues and problems of Black America? What do we need to solve? Right? They will have these conventions. That's almost non-existent and that disappeared now. Right? And they've gotten to the point where in the 90s and they're 80-year plus old and there's really no organizations that's took that helm, right? And when people do decide to step into that position, no one supports it, right? Which is probably an even deeper issue. I mean, I've been doing this work for a minute now.
Word.
Everybody will tell you, I see you, but ain't nobody gonna help you do it.
Word.
You feel me? That's a completely different game that
Yeah.
you're playing.
Yeah.
So for me, I look at people as like, play the role that you play.
Word.
Just don't do nothing detrimental to us. You know what I mean? It's like the way I can respect Denzel is because he has played his role. And he's played his role in a way where he hasn't done anything detrimental to us.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
A lot of people, they play their role and then they play other roles that we don't like.
Yeah.
Play other roles that's damaging.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they
Yeah.
do things that we feel like, man, why you had to sell out like that? Why you had to do that? It's like a shot to the heart. I feel like Denzel just one of them people that haven't gave us that moment. And that's why I give him such a high level, because just maintaining your integrity in this world is wealth. Right. And it sets an example for so many, right? To say, hey, listen, you can't tell me this not possible.
Yeah.
Cause I don't know what's going on in Denzel world. I don't want to know no bad things.
Yeah.
Because we need those stories.
Yeah.
Right. And that goes back to the heroes. We need more heroes. You feel me? And you having the confidence to say that you want to step up and accomplish and be next to or greater than, that's how we evolve a culture. You know what I mean? If everybody probably feels like that, so why is it taboo to say it?
You know, there's two things I want to identify as well. You said something very real. I don't know what Denzel's personal impact has been or will or whatever. That doesn't mean that they're not doing some amazing things with their money and their time and for the community in their own ways. I'm not saying that. So just to be clear, my interpretation of impact and what I'm saying is I need to be able to look up to the left, to the right, and see the impact of like what we're doing, you know, and see it. You know, people are using it day to day. You know, it's benefiting them. That's all. I'm thinking.
No, I like that. I respect that. I think that that's commendable, and impact should be accessible. Like Michael B. Jordan, I think he's a good example. He got that drink, that Moss drink, right? It's like even something as small as that. You walk in a grocery store, Black entrepreneurism, right? Black entrepreneurship, rather. And you get to utilize a drink, and the drink doesn't have additives or preservatives and none of that. It probably comes from Jamaica moss, right? But it's like, put your money, right, and create something that's good for us. Because most people, they gonna make a soda. They gonna make something with so much sugar and additives that if we do support it, it kills us, right? So at least if you're going to do it, have these extensions of your legacy and your impact that actually are positive when we do support you, that it supports us.
Right.
Nipsey was a commendable and an aspiring individual in that particular type of manner, that every project that he was getting onto and everything that he was teaching and leading the culture towards had positive impact connected to it. And that's where the responsibility now is that, okay, we can all be entrepreneurs. We can all make money. We can all, but what is the funnel, right? And then at the end result of it, how does this affect us into this cycle to where it's beneficial, right? I don't know why those 4 people that you just named haven't done a movie together and put their money together. That stuff, as a young man, I think about the industry and be like, how come Denzel and Will Smith hadn't decided to create a production company? These are my thoughts, right? And I'm like, because then they get to, but then you see a Tyler Perry, and of course Tyler Perry went a completely different type of route, but what it shows is possibility. I'm not talking about the blockades that come with it. I'm not talking about the challenges. I'm talking about why haven't you tried, right? Because I will respect the person that fails versus a person that never tries. You know what I mean? And that's the thing. It's like, because when you fail, you collect information so the next person can do it better, right? And so if nobody tries, now everybody's just thinking about it. Nobody's doing nothing. So it's like, that's the onus. And I would love to, you know, I hope Denzel don't see this and he like, I ain't never coming up there now. But, you know, I hope, I want to have that conversation because I want to know.
I challenge Denzel, Will, and every prominent creative being. I challenge the most prominent creative beings that are breathing air today to embrace impact in a new way and holler at you and myself. You know, I challenge all of you. If someone is offended at all about what I'm saying right now, we should be aligning. You know, if someone, you know, we should be aligning.
No, you a sucker if you get mad and it makes you go the other direction. Talk to your brother when you have a difference so you can create a bridge.
Yeah, because what we're doing right now is real. It's a movement, and it takes us in reality coming together to do it. Like you said, all we're doing on our side is creating a way to make it convenient and give us some structure. But it would only work with everybody participating, you know? And yeah, that's a whole nother high level conversation. Today is like the intro, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, we being strategic, you know? And I think about Gaddafi. I'm gonna stop there, but I think about Gaddafi. I think about Gaddafi.
He gonna say, that's another, but Gaddafi. but Gaddafi. Green Book, lay it on the table. Listen, you said what's understood don't have to be said. Let's say it like that. My goal when I sit down with people is just to explore your mind.
Yeah.
What concepts, what ideas that you have, right? What can you share that can be a benefit for those who observe and listen? People that want to be in your shoes, people that are in your shoes, people that are your peers. Inspire them to think out loud sometime, right? We don't have enough philosophy, I think. Our philosophers have disappeared, right? We don't ponder upon the future and the ideas. We don't think about things that we don't have any evidence of, right? So we become a people stuck by our senses. But I believe your imagination frees you. It allows you to think beyond things of this world, things that you even have resources for, right? Because that's not what we need to focus on. The first focus is the thinking. Do the job of thinking.
Right.
Because we have resources.
Right.
As you talked about, the collective power is an instrument that we can wield if we only had a collective vision.
Right.
Right. So as we go around the world, it's just talking, it's just speaking, it's communing, it's connecting, it's saying, hey, you in this position, let's build. That I'm in this position. Yo, let's be intentional. You in that room, invite me to that room, right? Why? Because you can see a vision that I can fit, right? You look around in a room, in your environment, and ask yourself what's not there. We talk about diversity, but diversity is fake. It's false. It's not real, right? And the reason it's not real because diversity never includes different ethnicities within inside one race. It includes a small percentage that they've decided is safe enough to where we can let in. And everybody else, that other side of America or that other side of Black America, because we talk about two sides of America, but there's two sides of Black America as well. One is safe. One you can advertise with. One you can invite to the war shows. One you can stand next to, take pictures with. This other side, oh no, they too radical. We can't rock with them. So just by that, the people with resources already create the division, right? Because they decided that these people aren't polished enough. These people can't fit. Their ideologies can't be in the room. And we are not going to be empowered until we have both of those come together, right? But if we decide to do the work of our enemies for them by utilizing our positions in power to keep other people at bay, now it ain't no connection to have. Now there's a war. Now I don't like you, you don't like me. Why? So you can satisfy master. It's not you don't really truly don't like me. You just think that if you stand next to me, then you don't get the rewards of standing away from me. I get it. So that isn't power. That isn't freedom, right? And that isn't liberty. So it's like to truly liberate a person and go to liberation, that's when you can have peace. But until that day happens to where the two sides of Black America has to meet, I ain't calling on nobody else. I'm talking about us, right? The unaccepted and the accepted have to come together. Those who have resources, those who don't have resources, the gatekeepers and those who kept out. You're going to benefit more by bringing in more people that they don't want to let in because you're going to change the rules when that happens. Now you're going to be more comfortable doing things that you want to do, right? You can say, hey, either you let me do it or they go do it. You know what I'm saying? Now, if they do it, they go wild with it. So you might as well let me, or not even let me, but stay out my way as I do, right? That benefit for my culture. So that day go happen. You feel me? But I'm glad that there's individuals such as yourself that is growing and that has a mind that you have decided that the world isn't about just the lights, the cameras, your deals, being a superstar and just doing whatever you want to do. You decided that there's a responsibility that comes with power, right? It's funny because it sounds like Spider-Man.
With great power comes great responsibility.
But it's the realest on the planet Earth because it comes back to that.
Here's the real one. Anyone can wear the mask, but it's how you wear the mask that makes you a hero.
Come on with it.
That's Miles Morales. That's his message. Anyone can wear the mask, but it's how you wear the mask that makes you a hero. Anyone can be an actor, a successful actor, a legendary actor. It's possible.
Yeah.
We got a couple of them.
Yeah.
How you wear the mask makes you a hero.
I like that.
Right. It's how you wear the mask, my brother.
And with that being said, man, we just tapped into another high-level conversation with the good brother, Shameik.
Peace.
Or they call him Meek.
They call him Meek, Shameik. Yeah, it goes either way.
Peace, family. Till next time.
Peace.
I'm 19 Keys, and this is high level conversation. Tap in with the God.
Look, as an artist, I'm going to be respected for what I'm contributing to the conversation on camera, through music, through fashion, and all the variables I do. Through impact, it's a lot bigger than me. I don't really want... It'll be a long time before the dots connect for the community, you know? It's not about me and what I'm doing. You know, it's about, there's no, you know that phrase, no one man should have all that power? It's kind of like what you were saying a little earlier about the different perspectives in the Black community. It's not just one vision, you know, so no one person can make the change. So I don't even want to approach it like that. It's just more like starting a fire. Psh, you know what I'm saying? You don't know where that fire started, but the whole forest is lit. You know what I'm saying? That's more so my energy is. And then, you know, the right people will know the right things. And, you know, if there's a time where the world needs to know the rest, then the world will know the rest. But it's not about that. That is my legacy, though. My legacy is an impact. It's not entertainment at all. The entertainment is like how I reel them in to open up the doors for touching the Black consciousness, connecting the community, generating disruptive impact that betters humanity for generations to come.
It's a common energy when I meet different people, right? And it's a resonance. You feel me? When you tap in with certain people and when you meet them in real life and they have a positive spirit and they like, bro, we got to connect. There's nothing Hollywood about it. There's nothing weird about it. It's a genuine energy to connect. And what I can always tell is that, okay, this person has some thoughts and ideas to share. This person has an energy that they probably relate to me on. And that lets me know my tribe. You feel me? And so I then think about this disconnect that we have in the world where we are all in these different places, all in these different rooms, all doing our different things, but we watch each other. But we don't communicate. We don't do these independent projects together. We don't merge worlds together, right? And I think that for the youth, for the world, they need to see that more, right? They need to see us fearlessly connecting with each other, communicate with each other, having these conversations. Even if we go back to the old, you know, Malcolm and Martin tale, like they still had conversations with each other on different sides of the aisle, right? It's like we talk about Democrats and Republicans having bipartisanship, and we rarely have it in our own culture, right? It's like the goal is for not everybody to do the same thing. The goal is for the vision to be in the room. I always go with that quote that I heard that Nipsey said, or that Jay-Z said to Nipsey. They said Jay-Z told him that you are in places that I can no longer go to, and I'm in places that you can't get to. And that's how we make this thing work. And for me, I interpreted that as we don't have to be in the same rooms together, but the vision does, right? The agenda does, right? And then at the same time, we can make way and room for each other, utilizing the resources that we do have. So I believe in intentionality, right? I've seen some of his previous interviews, and I feel like sometimes people don't give him the platform to be himself. And I feel like that happens a lot with, you know, a lot of rising stars and people that are in the so-called industry. It's like, you know what a person means, you know what they're trying to say, but instead they're trying to make this person intentionally misunderstood so they can get some clickbait. And it's like, nah, we need safe spaces to where we can come in and speak our piece. We need our own news outlet, so when a person got breaking news, they can deliver it in safe hands so that it's not sensationalized, right? Therefore, it makes this industry safer to be a part of when we do have young men and young women that decide to come up in it. So I believe one of my roles is to be, you know, a shepherd in media, right? To help shift and change the narrative, and also to be a tribal leader, if you will, to connect those tribesmen that do come under that same fold, the same values. So this has been my high level with the good brother.
No, look, this right here, crazy. Disclaimer, don't take this if you don't want to have a super day. I think it got way too much of each ingredient in here, especially the lion's mane and the black seed oil and the MCT oil and the cannabinoids. This had me up all night and I was just knocking out everything. Got to the point I ain't even got nothing to do tomorrow. If you want to like spread out your week in a week, don't take this. If you want to knock out a week in a day, this right here have you going. This is like Viagra for the brain. You ever wake up and you got limp brain, you feel mentally dry, and you don't feel inspired, and you ain't got what is required for you to go climb that tower of the day and knock everything down? Don't take this, because this will have you pound for pound ready to go Mike Tyson rounds. You know what I'm talking about? This Supermind right here is the best thing that I've ever had in my life, but I think it may be too much for the average person. Or maybe we need to put a disclaimer that this is extreme, because this right here, man, I feel like I can do anything. Literally anything. Yeah, this too much. This too much. This too much. Come on. What else we got to get done, man? Send me the whole agenda. Let's do everything today. We shooting for 24 hours today. I ain't stopping. And y'all think I'm playing. Y'all better take some as well. Matter of fact, here you go. Yeah, you take some, because I'm working. Non-stop. Ain't no cut. Let's go.
John Mayer got the same birthday?
We got the same birthday?
What?
What? I ain't know that.
What the hell?
Another one. Okay.
That's crazy.
What's up, brother? Damn, I ain't know that.
Peace, family. 19 Keys tapping in. I just shot a high-level conversation right here inside this beautiful black-owned business called Napoli Naturals Apothecary. Now, this business has everything that you need for your wellness needs, and is right here in the historic landmark area of Leimert Park. The thing is, we want to be able to do partnerships and collaborations, sponsorships with all of the different type of businesses that need that advertisement that people may not know exist, like this beautiful gym right here in the background. So make sure y'all tap in. If you want us to come pull up and you want us to shoot at your shop, make sure you go to 19keys.com or click the link below, right? And sign up so we can tap in and have you on high level. Because the more people that know you exist, the more people that can tap into your services. Peace, family.